form. We talked about his ability. That was sensational. Control it, and then the overhead kick from a standing position. It was unbelievable. We were just looking at it. Is it over the crossbar or is it in the goal? And it dropped over Butland. Butland no chance because of the trajectory of the ball, and it goes into the back right, sort of left-hand corner and underneath the crossbar. Quite incredible, I've got to say.
Well, we said, how will Rangers respond? The response is that Celtic kick on and get that third goal. Taneki does well to take James Tavernier down the outside. I think it's Conor Barron that gets his clearance all wrong, but take nothing away from the finish. Oh, I mean, it's incredible technique for Daiza Maeda. Like Pat says, it's a trajectory for all the world. Looks as if it's going to go over the bar, and it just dips into that top corner. 3-1. Looks a long way back for Rangers now.
We've seen some incredible bicycle kick finishes in Scotland over the course of this season. McTominay for the national team against Denmark. Shermiti got one in this fixture. The last time they met in the league at Ibrox. Dyson Maida's one there. I was saying that second Celtic goal today, his first of the afternoon. Could be his most important today. That one's just superseded it, and it was spectacular. And it just about had 74-year-old Martin O'Neill heading down the touchline in front of us in celebration. Triple change for Rangers. Sterling, Asgard and Gassama all coming on. Tavernier's time in this fixture's over. He's getting a standing ovation sarcastically from the Celtic fans. He's had so many problems in this fixture, perhaps with Dyson Maeda in particular. Down the years, as he comes off, so does Ant-Man, so does Diamonde. So those are the changes. As Danny Rule looks to try and get some life into his team, but the bottom line is, like at Tynecastle on Monday, Rangers have been caught like a rabbit in the headlights here.
And Danny Rule responds when the game looks potentially out of sight. So the three changes come, but it's now an absolute mountain that Rangers have got to climb. Celtic have got their tails up. There's no doubt whatsoever that Celtic aren't going to settle for just 3 goals. They're going to keep pushing. And said how are Rangers going to respond? They're going to have to need to respond, and quickly.
Asgard chopped to the ground by McGregor. And it will be a free kick to Rangers. There's a bit of argy-bargy down there. Maida's getting himself involved. And he's now in a hat-trick. There hasn't been a hat-trick scored in this fixture since Moussa Dembele in 2016. Approaching a decade since a treble was scored in this fixture. Maida being spoken to by referee Walsh. It is a Rangers free kick. Asgard wins it. It's now with Giga, who plays it into the centre circle for Chukwani. Just wonder, Celtic will want more. Celtic will want more. The goal difference is +4 now. To try and get themselves in about that. Sorry, +3 in Hearts' favour after the 2 Celtic goals. So they could potentially have the target, Pat Bonner, of trying to whittle that goal difference down now against a punch-drunk looking Rangers.
Well, I think, to be honest, they will take this scoreline. You know, I think a 3-1, considering that they were 1-0 down, would be the scoreline. Yes, you can go for goals, but listen, you don't want to lose anything either. Putting themselves under pressure.
Nygren out to Tanekti wide in the left, midway inside his own half. An hour played, Celtic 3, Rangers 1. Here on BBC Radio Scotland, BBC Radio 5 Live. High drama, high noon kick-off in Glasgow's East End. Celtic going for the title, going for more goals. Johnston's cross comes in, it's headed away by Giga. And then swept up high into the sky by Moore. He drops down off the head of trusty Shermiti to it. Engels heads on, here's Nygren. They're going to get it in behind Giga for Maida. Giga reacts well and takes it out to the left side of his box. Maida's all over him. He's brought him to the ground. It's going to be a free kick. He just never, ever gives up the ghost. I've described him in the past, Andy, as like a wasp at a barbecue, Dyson Maida. What's he like to play against?
Exactly what we're watching today. Full of energy. I've often said before, I'd love to know what he has for his pre-match, because I think every footballer in the world would probably try and copy it. It's ridiculous, the energy he's got, regardless of the minute of the game, whether it's the first minute or 94th minute. And he's just another one that's making the difference.
Here comes Celtic again with Yang down the right of the Rangers box. He's gone down, no free kick. Nick Walsh waves his arms aside. And Yang gets himself back to his feet. Celtic pick up the loose ball with Trusty right of the centre circle. It's now with Liam Scales. Snaps it out to the left for Tierney.
initial reaction was foul there. I thought he got in between the two players. I thought he was brought down at a dangerous area of the box. But I mean, Rangers just look lost, Liam.
Yeah, you can understand that. I mean, they've been hit by a 1-2 there from Daisen Maeda. 2 goals in 4 minutes from the Japan international. And this game is all about Celtic now. Played out to Trusty, goes back to McGregor, back to Sinisalo, but there's a foul there by Romans over on the far side, and Austin Trusty, and Celtic will have a free kick. They have a 3-1 lead on 62 minutes.
Yeah, listen, Rangers need to find a way back into this game somehow. They're not winning the second ball, the ball that drops in midfield. Celtic are all over them, they're winning it, and that keeps them on their front foot, and Rangers can't get a hold of the ball at this moment in time. If it goes to another goal, then you can see this being an incredible result for Celtic. But
got loads of exciting football to come on BBC Radio Scotland across the week. 5 Live has exciting football to come later today. Indeed, if you want the team news from the 2 o'clock kickoffs, you'll get that at the BBC Sport website. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. It's a featured game, featured commentary to follow this one, with Burnley, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Everton as well. West Ham, Arsenal to come. Celtic come forward down the right with Yang. Low ball across, cut out, he's in the Rangers box. Yang, right side of the 6-yard area, to the byline, chips it across, comes off a Rangers head, bounces out to the left-hand side of the area now for Tenekti. Now Tierney swings it in, but he's swung it over the crossbar, and that will be a goal kick to Rangers. But it is 3-1 to Celtic, and the Celtic supporters are in party mood. You just wonder if they'll be having a party here next Saturday afternoon.
It's the same run, same pass again. It's that run in between Rangers fullback and centre half that's caused them problems all day long. And again, it's Yang that gets wrong side of the back four. Does well again to cut inside, cut back on the outside, and Nasser Jig ends up defending it well, but Rangers have to spot this run earlier or it's going to get ugly.
Talking about the games in the Premier League, the Scottish Premiership on Tuesday, bottom 6, Wednesday, top 6, including Celtic's trip to Motherwell. That is a key fixture. Hearts at home to Falkirk. Engels, wide right there for Yang. Maeda wants the early ball. He's managed to pop it to Nygren, right side of the Deeds. Benjamin Nygren looking for space to shoot here. Turns it to Tenekti. Celtic rampant at the moment. Left side of the area. Tenekti blasted off Barron, and it bounces back out to this near side. Rangers are on the ropes. As Tierney turns it back to McGregor.
Since Tenekti's come on, he's given the balance as a wide man, and they're able to feed him, and he's playing over on this left-hand side. Yang's gone over, and Yang's made a difference over on the right-hand side too. So that change has worked for Celtic, I've got to say.
McGregor out to Trusty over on that right side, on the halfway line. Down the line it goes, but Yang can't control. Rangers get it away. It's dumped back down that right side. Fernandes flicks it out for a Celtic throw-in. I mean, they're just utterly bamboozled with what's going on here, are the Rangers players.
Yeah, 20 minutes in this half, it's been all Celtic. I don't even think Rangers have had a venture in Celtic's box at this moment in time. Certainly not had any shots on goal, certainly not Tessie Sinisalo at this moment in time, and you just feel as if a goal's going to come again. It's going to be Celtic.
It's out this left side here with Tenekti. Goes back to Tierney inside his own half, rolls it back with the left foot to his goalkeeper, and Sinisalo will turn it to his right. 3-1 to Celtic. Trusty on the ball, out to the right touchline for Yang in the Rangers half, level with the edge of the centre circle. He's been brought crashing to the ground, and that will be a free kick there for Celtic. Challenge.
And the difference with Yang is that he's picking up his right body position. You know, he's coming to the ball, but he's on the half turn, and he's open as the ball's coming to him, and he can either go on the inside or open up and drive it. When McCowan was playing out there, who's not a natural winger, he was running back square to the ball, and when he got the ball, he wasn't able to do anything with it, and he was easily closed down.
Celtic with McGregor, rolls it low back into his own half for Trusty. Square to Scales. Scales taking it up towards the halfway line, rolls it forward to Tierney, helps it on its way with the outside of the left foot, but it was straight to Dujon Sterling, who turns it back to Butland. Butland, 6-yard box, clears with the left foot. Rangers, as it stands, will finish third. It will be third for them. As Moore is hauled to the ground, it's going to be a yellow card coming out here for Austin Trusty.
Yeah, he got caught out of position, didn't he? You know, he went for the first header, didn't want it when the ball dropped to Mikey Moore, then he was well out of position and he can almost half panicked, and he's given away the free kick and got himself in the referee's notebook.
As it stands, Hearts on 77 points with a goal difference of plus 32. Celtic on 76 points with a goal difference plus 29. A single point separating them. With 2 games to go, as it stands. Off Sterling and out for a Celtic throw in midway inside their own half on the left side. Bowled forward by Tierney for Maida. Fernandes defends it well, and then Maida brings him to the ground, and that's a free kick to Rangers, who have to face Hibs at home on Wednesday night before they finish off away to Falkirk. Barron picks up and rolls it infield to Chukwueze, who then bends it out to Gassama on this near side. The man who worked with Danny Rule at Sheffield Wednesday last season rolls it forward towards Asgard, cut out well by McGregor, who clears and chips it up to the halfway line. There's nobody in green and white onto it there though.
Yeah,
what
Celtic don't want to do here is drop off and allow Rangers to start dictating a little bit of the game and getting themselves back into this, because, you know, if Celtic lose a goal, then enormous pressure would come in the last period of this game, so they've got to stay on the front foot.
Rangers were involved in a green and white typhoon there for about 15 minutes. The momentum's slightly gone out of the Celtic performance since then, and Rangers have a throw in high up the pitch here, taken quickly by Asgard. Sharmiti tries to chest it back to Robbins, it comes off the defender, breaks to Sharmiti, still on it, looking for Gassama to pull it back, but it's come off Sharmiti last and behind for the goal kick. He's not even getting the corner. 68.5 on the clock. Celtic 3, Rangers 1.
I think that's the first time Rangers have been in Celtic's box in this second half. Liam, Yusuf Chermiti tries to spin on the touchline, try and find Gassama in the box, but looks like they've just overrun it. It's went out of play. Well, you do feel as if the game's settled slightly. I mean, Celtic still have all the momentum. They've got their 2 goals to the good, so it's up to Rangers to then try and get a bit of momentum, start to create chances, force Sinisalo into saves. But at this moment in time, you just don't see where that's coming from.
Well, we're in the realms of where that point that Hearts picked up last night, for those who think it's could be a massive point from the end of the season, that single point with Celtic going to Motherwell on Wednesday, to come into play at that point as Moore collects for Rangers, winding the left down by the corner flag, high up the pitch. Under pressure he is from Johnston. He's managed to get the cross in, headed away by Scales. Yang chests it down to Johnston, who rifles it clear up towards halfway. Rangers pick up with Jiga. Under no real pressure. Nasser Jiga's on loan from Wolves. He finds Fernandes. A long ball forward for Moore in behind Johnston. A little bit more momentum about Rangers here. They are 2 down though. Asgard picks up. Back to Chukwueze, and now it's with Barron. Short infield to the Dane again. It was back to Jiga. He rolls it to Barron to his right, Chukwueze. And then back to Connor Barron. Lots of possession for Rangers in the last 5 minutes, but they're not testing Sinisalo. That needs to change. Headed away by Tierney. Tenekti and Barron going in for a 50-50. Comes off Tenekti last and out for a throw-in to Rangers on this near side. It's with Barron. Chipped it forward there to Chermiti, with his back to goal, being forced back towards the halfway line by Scales. Works it back to Barron, and now it's with Jiga.
Yeah, better spell for Rangers, isn't it? They're keeping possession better, and this is what they wanted to do for a period of the game, but Sully didn't allow them, but they're allowing them now to get plenty of possession.
Yeah, 3-1 down with less than 20 of the 90 to play though. And here come Rangers down the left, opportunity perhaps for a cross. It's with Fernandes, got right up the pitch, but he's turned it out for a goal kick. There was actually an offside as well, so it'll be a free kick in the end for Celtic, who have that 3-1 lead. And you would imagine the champions will see it through from this point, and then it all moves on to Wednesday, and there will be plenty of time to look forward to.
Yeah, I think
what's
Celtic
coming, but
Celtic are going to the bench, Liam.
Yeah, still got a job to do here, don't they?
Yeah, they've a bit of movement. I see the board's out, and they'll make a change, whether that's in midfield or whether Yang will come off, because he's put a shift in the game, and also here in the second half. I think Maeda will stay on the pitch because he can keep going, I think, for 90 minutes.
No holiday for Maida. He'll be away with Japan at the World Cup this summer. It's going to be his compatriot Reo Hatate. He's going to come on. Rangers on the ball with Asgard midway inside his own half. Pings a high one out to this near side, looking for Sterling. Tierney wins the header though. Tenekti goes after it. Kept in play there by JD Gassama. Turning away from Nygren in field to Asgard. He's lost it though. It's back with Tierney. He's given it away as well. Chukwani forward to Moore. He's got cold side of Yang. He's burned away from Yang. He's away from one. He's away from two. Couldn't get away from the third. Still alive, but eventually Arne Engels boots it clear. Celtic 3, Rangers 1. 72 on the clock. That's the first time we've seen Mikey Moore getting a run at the ball there in the second half.
And it's the first time we've seen him get the ball. You're right, Liam, but initially straight away something happens. So I think Rangers' game plan should be really, really simple. Find Mikey Moore.
He's on it again, rolls it to the edge of the box. Gassama looks to take it down. He's inside the area at the penalty spot under heavy pressure though. Celtic at a half away, it's still alive. Engels' clearance wasn't decisive. Sharmiti's on it right side and he rifles it into the side net. It's taken a deflection off a Celtic defender, so it will be a Rangers corner on 73 minutes. Celtic 3, Rangers 1.
Yeah, getting a bit nervous now inside the stadium because Rangers have had a good spell. And again, it's down to Celtic just not closing them down the way they've been doing and allowing them to start. And those players like Mikey Moore, Sharmiti, when they get good possession and good positions, they're very dangerous.
Rangers corner. Romans takes. It's headed away by Scales. Breaks back out wide right of the Celtic box for Gassama. Level with the penalty spot. Turns it back to Romans. Bends the ball in with the left foot to the left side of the box, and it's headed behind for the corner in the end. Though the Celtic fans in the Lisbon line stand claim goal kick. And a couple of Celtic players have sustained a head knock there. And there's going to be treatment for at least one of them. Rangers are going to put on the North Macedonia striker Bojan Mijovski in their search to get back into this. 3-1 down with just over 16 minutes of the 90 to play.
Yeah, and Celtic will make the change also. I think Hatate, they won't make it at this corner, but they will make it. I think it might be Engels that might be coming off the pitch. He hasn't played a lot of football. It's been an intense game.
And Hatate's kind of been out of the picture recently as he takes a drink down below us before making his way on. We have to wait till after this corner though. Celtic are defending. Telo Asgard, the Norway international, over on the far side to take.
Still another 15 minutes to go, Liam, but I feel so far that Liam Scales has been absolutely terrific in the opening 75 minutes. Lost count the amount of times that he's defended his box and clearances under his crossbar. The last corner for Rangers, it was him that got his head on it. Celtic cleared the box. Can he do it again? Rangers corner. Celtic 3, Rangers 1. In comes Asgard's corner, it's poor, doesn't beat the first man. He was Callum McGregor who heads it away. Tenekti getting it under control on the near side, flicks it forward looking for Yang. It's bounced off Connor Barron and then almost bounced back into the path of Yang, but eventually goes out for the throw-in. Celtic 3, Rangers 1, 15 minutes to the 90 to play. Celtic are going to bring on Reo Hatate, and he is going to come on for Benjamin Nygren. Pat Nevin, a very interested spectator in the studio, watching this one play out. Celtic heading towards a most crucial of 3 points, Pat.
Certainly are just now. We talked at half-time, and we all thought about at half-time what the manager's going to do. They're going to adapt to the personnel or tactics at all. And you're absolutely right, Pat was saying there, Donetsky coming on made such a difference, but also the complete control of the ball in the midfield there was so noticeable in that for 15-20 minutes after it. And it does help when you've got a magician like Maeda and he's finishing. He was getting in the right positions all the time.
What about that second goal, Pat?
Well, we're going to have to try and figure out what's the best overhead kick we've seen recently, because everyone can argue, but that one was totally different, genius, and for the time it was and for the moment it was and for its importance, yeah, absolute class.
Words of Pat Nevin there. Celtic 3, Rangers 1 here on Radio Scotland and 5 Live this afternoon. Lots more football to come on 5 later today. Nottingham Forest, Newcastle's less than half an hour away. West Ham, Arsenal to come after that, 4:30. Teams at polar opposite ends of the Premier League going head to head. The Spurs, who play Leeds tomorrow, will have a keen eye on that one as well. Here come Rangers down the left-hand side, 3-1 down, but fighting here. Romans on the inside channel in the box is out-muscled there by Johnston. Both of them end up falling off the pitch, and Romans didn't like the challenge. And now there's plenty players becoming embroiled themselves in the battle between each other.
Yeah, just pulling
like
and
strong
hauling.
defending, wasn't it?
Yeah, good honest defending, I think. Pulling and hauling between all the players. Nick Walsh just standing back, getting a good eye on everything. But again, Mikey Moore is a danger man. He picks up great positions, especially when Celtic or Rangers get good possession. He floats into areas, gets the ball and then drives forward. And he is the danger man, I think, for Rangers at this moment in time.
It's going to be a busy summer at Ibrox, Andy. I just wonder if they have the possibility of bringing Moore back. Would have to be another loan, we would imagine, but will that be an option, do you think?
I think it's a priority. Whether they can get him or not, it's obviously a big ask.
Tierney and Roman's boot, by the way, Andy.
I think it all depends on where are Tottenham. Are they a Championship side next year? Are they a Premier League next year? The one thing's for sure, I think Rangers will desperately be trying to get him back. I think throughout the course of the season he's probably been the main creator from open play for Rangers. It's interesting because I've said that Rangers' game plan from now to the end of this game should be get Mikey Moore on the ball. It actually seems as if it's been Emmanuel Fernandez just driving for the back. I mean, he's trying to croy strikers, he's trying to drive forward. It's almost a do-it-yourself kit and trying to drag Rangers back into this game. But you've got to say at this moment in time, I mean, again, still don't think Sinisalo's had a shot, a save to make, sorry, in the second half.
That's the problem, isn't it? That is the problem. Sinisalo takes the goal kick long with the right foot into the Rangers half, met in the air by Fernandez, heads it into the Celtic half. Trusty gets his head to it. Miovski is now on for Rangers as they try and throw the dice a little bit, shake some life into this with just about, 11 and a half minutes of it to play of the 90. 3-1 Celtic. Scales is taking Sharmiti down. Sharmiti's gone down clutching his face. Scales is going to be yellow carded here.
Yeah, I don't think there's much in it actually, because he's almost tricked Scales by a little flick back inside him, and he's just kind of almost put his arm across his body, but he goes down as if he's... Anyway, it's a free kick to Rangers. Dangerous position again. Celtic have got to defend and defend properly. They don't want to give anything up in this last, probably about 12, maybe 15 minutes with extra time and so on.
Maybe about 15 probably. Martin O'Neill will not want his team offering Rangers any kind of encouragement that there's still points to be had from this for the visitors. Connor Barron stands over the free kick. Natate's a one-man wall. Load of players to the left of the penalty spot. Barron looking to find someone in blue. Sinisalo standing just off his goal line, bouncing around. Barron bends it into the back end of the box. There is a header at goal. Sinisalo holds on to it. It was met there by Giga. He didn't get the power that was going to beat Sinisalo, who holds on, and it stays Celtic 3, Rangers 1 as we flirt with the last 10 minutes of the 90.
Yeah, he finally makes a save, but it's a pretty routine one. I think Connor Barron's delivery, it's always arcing away. I think he's ended up for...
Maida looks offside here, but he's going to play on. He's one-on-one with Butland. Chance! He's put it wide anyway, but his flushes will be spared by the offside flag. Yeah. Because he looked well off there. Celtic 3, Rangers 1 it remains. Classic Maida. Scores with that overhead bicycle kick, but then one-on-ones doesn't have that composure. The Celtic bring off Johnston, replacing with Scotland international Anthony Ralston, and it will be the former Manchester City and Leicester striker Kelechi Iheanacho who will come on as well, and there will be no hat-trick for... Well, I was waiting to say no hat-trick for Maida, but it might be Yang it's coming off. Yeah, Maida's just going to come out wide left, which might make it more difficult for him to complete his hat-trick. It stays Celtic 3, Rangers 1. We are in the final 10 of the 90, and you kind of suspected Rangers, and we can't rule anything out, what's been the craziest of seasons in Scotland this term. But you would think Rangers would have had to have scored one by now to make a fist of this, but you just never know.
It's been the most surprising season and crazy things have happened, but I think if Rangers take it into this game, Liam, I'll be ever so shocked, because you still feel at this moment in time if a goal's coming, it's for Celtic again.
Engels picks up a loose ball. Here's McGregor under pressure from Sterling, works out wide left for Maida in his new position now. It's behind Hatate though, who slips, and Rangers pick up with Asgard. He plays it out to Gassama on this near side. Maida challenging but fouling, and free kick Rangers, and a yellow card for Daisen Maida. He's had a few of those. That's the totting up process there by Nick Walsh.
That's it. This persistent fouling, I think he's got there. There was nothing untoward in that. It was just using his body to stop them counter-attacking and
it's a long ball forward by Rangers down towards Miovski in this near side of the penalty box, headed away by Tierney. Here's Gassama picking it up and rolling it infield to Telo Asgard. Plays it back to Fernandez, the edge of the centre circle, but it's the negative passing which is right now ruling Rangers out of making this a grandstand finish at Celtic Park. The defending champions 3-1 up, and at the moment, as it stands, closing to within 1 point of the leaders and pretenders, Heart of Midlothian. Long switch of play by Rangers, out to Tua Romans on the far side. Back to Asgard. Here's Moore this time. Right foot low ball out to the left for Fernandez. Gets the cross in. It's put too much on it for the Rangers players in the box. Sharmiti was one of them. Sterling was in there too, but Gassama's onto it. Runs into Maida, who puts the block in, and Celtic clear their lines. They're going to try and bring on Marcelo Sarachi shortly, and imagine for Tierney as Gassama picks up again for Rangers on the near side. Clock just about on 83 minutes. Celtic 3, Rangers 1 as Tierney blocks across and out it goes for a Rangers throw-in. And here comes the change, and Sarachi, who's on loan from Boca Juniors in Argentina, is going to come on to replace Kieran Tierney, who hasn't completed too many full 90 minutes since arriving back at the club from Arsenal last summer. And he's taken the acclaim from the Celtic supporters. He's one of their own. And Shingar's off. Sarachi comes on to replace him, but from what we've seen of Sarachi, he's an able deputy for Tierney. But because of Kieran Tierney, I don't think Celtic will be getting Sarachi back next season, because I know that that's been mooted. Sterling with the throw, and we'll get to Pat in a moment. And from Sterling into the Celtic box, bundled away by Hatate, round about the penalty spot. Rangers pick up with Romans, it goes back to Moore. You have to say, apart from the 15-20 minute period in the second half, Rangers haven't given the ghost up here.
No, they've come
well out of the game now.
Come back into the game, and you've been allowed to come back into the game a little bit, because Celtic haven't maybe been as strong in their closing down, but that happens. And I always said that early in the game it's very difficult to keep that up for 19 minutes. So now you've got to get into a different mode of thinking, concentration, defend well as a unit.
Of course, Andy's Motherwell will have a chance to wound Celtic on Wednesday. So this is just one victory potentially. There's a holy trinity of matches for them. So they go to Fir Park on Wednesday night, and I have to say, last time Celtic were there, and it was under Wilfred Nancy, it's as much of a battering as I've seen a Celtic team take, out with the odd game against Rangers from another Scottish club in goodness knows how many years. So that's going to represent a massive challenge for Martin O'Neill. He'll know that already. And Andy and his Motherwell team, as he knows, still have plenty to play for themselves, with 4th place and European football still a massive target for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The word kingmakers has been getting brandished about.
Your manager didn't like that when that was put to him yesterday.
I don't think he liked it too much, but I mean, it's proven to be the case. I think everyone felt coming into the fixtures. I think everyone thought coming into post-match fixtures that Motherwell have a say where the title ends up. I think that's been seen so far with taking points off of Rangers and Hearts. So big game again for Motherwell and Celtic on Wednesday. It'll be a good one.
Celtic know if they win that, and they win next Saturday against Hearts here, they win the title. Ralston has been fouled over there, and that will be a free kick to Celtic. And was it Fernandez? Yeah, the referee's seeking him out. He's again well up the pitch. Yeah, again he's driving out for defence, and listen, he initially does well, but then it gets to the point where you have to release it. He's got 2 Romans on his left hand side, but he overruns it. Anthony Ralston just nibs it away from him, relieves the pressure again for Celtic. But listen, Rangers have had a lot more control over the last 10-15 minutes, but lack any type of inventiveness. They just don't look as if a chance is going to come, never mind a goal. In the final 4 minutes of the 90 now, Celtic leading Rangers by 3 goals to 1. There will be a free kick to be taken by Sine Salo. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle United to follow on 5 Live. Full reaction to this one on Sportside and BBC Radio Scotland to come, with the guys here and those in the studio, including Pat Nevin, as Jack Butland underarm bowls it to his left for Fernandez. Goes forward to Asgard, who pushes it out to this near side for Jaga. The clock ticking down. Rangers need a goal now to make it a nervy finish. Barron back to Asgard, he gets it through to Miovski. Miovski looking to thread it through for Romans, asking too much of him though. Ralston beats him to it, goes back to Sinisalo, who clears with the right foot. Out to the far side, Barron meets it, up and under, first time down the line. Sarachi was caught by Miovski, and that will be a free kick to Celtic over on that far side. It is Celtic 3, Rangers 1, and Pat Bonner, who I think it was 60 appearances in this fixture you made, Pat, right up the charts when it comes to appearance records in this fixture. This is a massive victory for your old club, isn't it? If they can get it over the line, this appears likely.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, there was a time when they were 1-0 down. I'd say it was early in the game, and it gave them the opportunity to get back into it. The second goal, you mentioned it in the commentary, was absolutely going to be vital, and who it went to. Obviously Celtic getting it, giving them the momentum. And then, of course, that man Maeda coming up with that incredible goal that will go down probably as one of the best goals seen in an Old Firm game for such a long time. But Celtic did the business for that period, 15-20 minutes into the second half. They've fallen back, obviously, you know, to allow Rangers to come into a little bit, but as Andy says, Rangers have no punch in them.
It's been a big problem for them this season, and once again, Andy, they've let 3 goals in. It's been an issue. There's been lots of 2s and 3s recently, even when they beat Falkirk 6-3. 3 went in against them that day. Just haven't been tight enough at the back, and it's been a problem all season.
Yeah, in the period where they were looking a lot more solid defensively is the reason it dragged them back into this title race. Danny Rowe seemed to have showed up what was defensive issues all season long, but I mean they've now looked a little bit more threatening at the top end of the pitch, but that's then coincided with looking a little bit more fragile at the back, so they've not managed to get that balance right all season long.
Gassama and Hatate getting involved this time. It's a free kick goes Rangers' way. The sun comes back out here in Glasgow. It's been shining on Celtic today, that's for sure. Their first one over Rangers in 90 minutes since 2024. And Hatate's picked up a cheap book in there for standing too close to Gassama's free kick. He just booted it off Hatate to prove a point. The yellow card comes out, and Barron eventually takes it, sweeps it from right to the left side. Romans level with the Celtic penalty spot, gets the break of the ball. Into the area he goes. Eventually it's closed down by Engels, who wins it back for Celtic inside his own penalty area. It's worked up the line. Yang now Iheanacho. Back to Yang, first time ball forward to Reo Hatate. Celtic going to finish with a flourish here in the 90th minute. They lead 3-1. Hatate picks it up, but he's going back the way. The momentum's gone, but he's knocked it back to Tenekte. And then Callum McGregor loses it. That's a bit lax from the skipper. Miovski finds Sharmiti, but Engels slides in to win it back, and McGregor mops up and goes back to Sinisalo. First time ball forward with the right foot. Fernandes with the cushion header to his right for Barron in the Celtic half. Out to JD Gassama. Maida all over him. Gassama's got Sterling as an overlap. We're into the first of 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game. There's a foul by Marcelo Sarachi on Gassama, and Rangers have a free kick here at 25 yards from goal, right of centre. Trailing 3-1.
Well, it's just came up, it's just flashed up, 4 minutes added on, and we're already into the 90, so if Rangers are to get in from this game, then this has to result in a goal.
Connor Barron standing over the set piece. The Celtic fans watching this and looking to just get the job done here. The man's gone down in the box. I think it's Trusty, I'm not sure what's going on there. The ref's on site though, and doesn't seem to be anything too untoward. There was a brief VAR check going on in the background there, or whatever happened to Trusty. Anyway, Barron will take the free kick, right-footed into the Celtic box, comes off Asgard's head, flicks it outside the area to the left side of it. Jiga looking to win at least a corner, which he does. Rangers corner on the far side. Their supporters can't say that they've chucked it today, that's for sure. They've kept plugging away. But as has been the story for Rangers this season, they've just not had enough quality across the board.
No, ultimately it's been that crazy 4 minute spell that's been the undoing of Rangers, but you've got to say Celtic certainly deserve it. They've been the better side in this second half, and Rangers just haven't had the answer.
Corner kick, Barron over on the far side, right-footed in swinging, and it comes. Same for Sterling. It will drop to McGregor though, and he rifles it away to safety. Moore chasing after it, the deepest Rangers outfield player, as he goes all the way back to Butland. Flips it calmly back to the left for Moore. He switches the play to Asgard. Moore was caught by Hatat. He'll have to be careful given he's on a yellow now. Asgard holding off Maida into the Celtic half. Nutmeg on Maida, still it's Asgard. Out to Fernandez on the near side. Now he's found Sharmiti at the byline, fires it across, comes off Engels, and behind for a Rangers corner. They're still susceptible, Celtic. They're going to win this game of football, and when they go to Fir Park they're going to get an almighty test, because if anyone who's watched Motherwell this season knows that, but Motherwell have been the most pleasing in the eye team in the Scottish Premiership this campaign, more than capable of beating Celtic again at Fir Park on Wednesday, as Robbins dinks the corner in. Scales gets it half away. Barron picks up at the right angle of the box and goes to Robbins on the near side. It's a tempting ball, ends off the bar from Miovski, and Sterling on the rebound is held onto by Sinisalo. No power in it there. Miovski thought he'd pulled Rangers back to within one. It stays though after almost 3 of the 4 minutes of stoppage time. Celtic 3, Rangers 1.
Yeah, not alone that is such an important goal and goal difference also. And that would have kind of almost kept Hearts in a position, but these 2 extra goals for Celtic, yeah,
they could prove pivotal. Come next Saturday afternoon, we shall see. Sarachi defending against Robbins, who's gone down holding his face. Sarachi clears out for a Rangers throw-in on the near side. The Celtic are trying to manage the game out from this point. They've been for a little while now.
Yeah, and for the most part I think they've managed it really well. That's obviously been the best chance for Rangers in that second half. Just a routine ball into the box, and you've got to say Miovski does well to hold off. I think it's Liam Scales divert the header on target, but just bounces off the bar.
Moore for Rangers, the dying seconds of the game. Back to Sterling, whips the cross in, goes off the head of Engels. Miovski with his back to goal on the 18-yard line. He's lost out. Celtic have it with Iheanacho trying to spring to Nekti, who goes in on Asgard. Free kick Rangers. So we played the 4 minutes. Is there going to be time to take this? Looks like Nick Walsh is going to allow the free kick to be taken, but the Celtic supporters are going to be celebrating very, very soon. They're just waiting for the final whistle. Barron's over the free kick, but this is going to be the last action of the game. Rangers' start to the season under Russell Martin is what's going to cost them ultimately all those draws. Only won 1 of their first 6 as Barron flights the free kick in. It goes behind for the goal kick. And Nick Walsh is going to finish the game any second now. He might just allow the goal kick to be taken first. But Celtic will be collecting a golden and priceless 3 points here against their bitter rivals. Whistle to lips, the referee blows the final whistle. It is a victory for the champions, who can sign Rangers to a 3rd place finish. And they will now be relying on Celtic winning the Scottish Cup to gain entry to the Europa League qualifiers, because as it stands, it's the Conference League for Danny Rule's men, as their title challenge wilted. Post-split, it's 3 successive defeats for them. They took the lead through Mikey Moore, the on-loan Spurs winger, on the rebound from Sharmiti, making it 1-0 early on in the match. Celtic, though, had the answer big time today. Yang equalising on 23 as he fired home from Engels' cut back, and then it was the Daizen Maida show in a 4-minute spell on 53 and 57 as he tapped home to make it 2-1. A moment of genius from the Japanese as his overhead kick found the far top right corner, floated over Butland into the net. That's where the scoring ended. There was drama aplenty. At times the quality wasn't the best, but you could not take your eyes off it. Celtic back to within a point of the leader's heart of Midlothian with 2 games to go. It's Motherwell Celtic on Wednesday, Hearts are at home to Falkirk. What will be the state of play when the Edinburgh side cross the M8 to Glasgow to come here to Celtic Park next Saturday? Do they come here as champions, or do they come here trying to wrestle the title from a Celtic side that just gets the job done every single season, it seems. Certainly 13 out of the last 14. It finished here in Glasgow's East End. Celtic 3, Rangers 1.
Celtic versus Rangers.
Celtic Park roars!
The Old Firm Derby.
Live on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
Oh! Incredible stuff here!
Scottish football lives here.
Since then, Brighton have been turning the screw. We will.
First time since the 1990s, Chelsea-Manchester City is the second semi-final at 3:30. Into the Premier League then, 2 o'clock kickoffs on the way. Burnley versus Aston Villa is in full on 5 Sports Extra. Julia Bold.
Relegated Burnley make 6 changes. Weiss replaces Dubravka in goal. Tuanzebe, Perez, Ugo Chukwu, Florentino and Hannibal all come in. And after booking their place in the Europa League final, Aston Villa make 3 changes. Tyrone Mings and Ian Matson go into the defence, and a rare start for Ross Barkley.
On Sports Extra 2, it's Crystal Palace against Everton. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, Europe is dominating the thoughts of both clubs. Crystal Palace are very much there. Everton would like to get there. 2 changes for Crystal Palace, both in attack. Johnson and Strand Larsen for Pino and Mateta. And Everton remain unchanged from that dramatic 3-3 draw with Manchester City.
Remember, West Ham versus Arsenal in full here on 5 Live at 4:30. We are all back together for that, so you've got your choice of listening. Other big football that's happening today includes Boreham Wood against Rochdale in the National League playoff final at Wembley Stadium, the 2 League 2 playoff semi-final first legs, Grimsby Salford and Chesterfield against Notts County. We here on 5 Live are going to the City ground as Mull of Kintyre blasts out and Clinton Morrison is with Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Steve. Beautiful weather here today on the banks of the Trent. Cricket being played just across the road and the sun illuminating the playing surface here at the City ground. Nottingham Forest, who know they will be mathematically safe in the Premier League if they get a better result than West Ham today. We're underway. Scarves being raised aloft by Forest fans. It's been a tough few days, having been beaten by Aston Villa and comprehensively beaten in that Europa League semi-final second leg on Thursday. But overall, recent form has been so good under Vitor Pereira, the 4th different manager in charge of Forest this season. But it feels, Clinton, as we're underway, that they finally got the right man in charge.
Yeah, they did, and it was the job he was brought in to do, is to keep them safe. They still need a point, but mathematically I think they are safe anyway. Do you know what I mean, Connor? I think he's done a brilliant job, and obviously the result in midweek was nowhere near good enough from them, but they've had a lot of injuries, Connor. But yeah, he's been brought in to put out fires, and that's what he's done.
Now, whisper it amongst Newcastle fans, but Newcastle themselves are somehow still not guaranteed safety. A point today will mathematically assure it. It just shows the congested nature of the bottom half of the table, that Newcastle technically in that relegation equation. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle, one of 3 2 o'clock kickoffs today in the Premier League. You can listen to Burnley against Villa right now on Sports Extra, and coverage of Crystal Palace against Everton is live at the moment on right tick to left. Gibbarash is just dipped in between the 2 central defenders. Botman in possession at the moment, rolls it back to the goalkeeper. Nick Pope. And there was much discussion ahead of kickoff as to what formation Newcastle will play today. It does look like Dan Burn is operating as a left-back / left wing-back. And Lewis Hall, normally a left-sided player, Clinton, he's on the ball at the moment. He's playing on the right-hand side at the moment for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, so basically it probably will be a 4. Dan Burn will play left-back. Trippier, who's leaving in the summer, and you'd probably try and give him as many games as possible, but you've got Lewis Hall, who's the future for Newcastle, and he's playing out of position. And that means Joe Linton must be playing on the left-hand side. Voldemade will be in that number 10 corner.
Awoniyi burst forward, but he has fouled Sven Botman in his attempts to get onto that pass. Taiwo Awoniyi, who scored 2 goals on what was only his second Premier League start of the season on Monday away at Chelsea. Newcastle with a shortage of right-backs at the moment. Livramento's had plenty of injuries all season. Poor old Lewis Miley suffered a broken leg in training this week. But it is interesting that Eddie Howe deciding to go with Hall on the right-hand side rather than the experience of Trippier. And even if Trippier is leaving at the end of the season, that is his specialist position. You just wonder if Forest will try to target Lewis Hall down that side. Dan Burn is in possession at the moment. Halfway line for Newcastle. 0-0 here in the sunshine of the City Ground on 5 Live. And Bruno Guimaraes under pressure from his old teammate Elliot Anderson, whose persistent shoving into the Brazilian results in a Newcastle free kick.
Yeah, that would be a good battle. I've seen them many times where they go at it, and obviously Anderson likes to stamp his authority on the game, and so does Elliot Anderson, so does Bruno.
Aston Villa today can move ahead of Liverpool in the table as a good cross comes in, and Joe Linton comes to attack it, and he just couldn't get his forehead firmly on it. It was Jacob Murphy's cross from the right-hand side. It came in with a real pace on it, bounced in front of Joe Linton. He tried to glance the header, but I don't think he got any touch, maybe a slight glance. And that's a bit of a let-off for Nottingham Forest. First proper attack of the game for Newcastle, and still 0-0.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get with Murphy. It's brilliant play down the right-hand side, and the ball in from Murphy's outstanding. It's crying out. Willisula makes that run, and Joe Linton's at the back post. But I'm looking for him. Where's my second centre-forward? Voldemade. He's watching the game. He needs to get into the box and score goals.
Yeah, one of the surprising statistics this season is how few Premier League assists Jacob Murphy has had. He'd so many last season. This time round, he's only provided 2 assists in the Premier League, Jacob Murphy. I remember there was that press conference earlier in the year when Liverpool manager Arne Slot was talking about how Isak was struggling to get going, and he said because Liverpool don't have a player like Jacob Murphy to send in those crosses, that's how highly regarded Murphy has been. Voldemade here miscontrolling a bit, making it awkward for Dan Burn, and under pressure from Nico Dominguez, the ball goes out of play for a throw into Nottingham Forest. Right-hand side of their defence, Nico Williams is going to take the throw in. So Matt Sells in goal for Nottingham Forest. Nico Williams in the right wing position. 3 central offenders, Jerkunya, Nikola Milenkovic, Morato. Luka Netz is playing on the left wing back position. This is his second ever Premier League start. His first here at the City Ground as Nico Williams gives possession away, gives it straight to Sven Botman. In midfield, it's Dominguez and Anderson with Bakwa, Iko Jesus and Taiwo Awoniyi as the front 3. Lewis Hall is in possession, bringing it over the halfway line for Newcastle United. Defenders just backing away from it. He's got Tonali available just inside him. He chooses to pass it to Murphy on the right-hand side. Out comes Netz to put pressure on Murphy, and the ball goes out of play for a Newcastle throw.
Yeah, it's been a good start from Newcastle. Well, I've always feel they dominate with the players that Forest have missing. So
another cross from Murphy, high into the centre. Osula was close to it. Milenkovic is able to get the header. Forest haven't fully cleared this yet. Milenkovic with another header that hasn't gone far outside the penalty area. And then Bakwa goes down. He's implying he was fouled by Dan Burn there. The referee says play on, says that's not a foul. Forest still haven't cleared this. It's on the edge of their own penalty area. Elliot Anderson should do now. And with a short pass, he gives it to Bakwa on the right-hand side. And then it's back to Anderson. We'll go for an update at Crystal Palace in a moment. But Anderson tries to send a cross into the middle. It's gone out by Sven Botman. So let's go to Sellers Park. Crystal Palace against Everton. There's been an early goal for Sohail Sahi.
It's gone the way of Everton. Crystal Palace 0. Everton 1 from a corner, whipped into the near post. It was flicked onto the far post, 6 yards away. James Tarkowski was there to slot it home. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 1.
Thanks, Sohail. Nottingham Forest could move ahead of Palace today with a win here if Palace were to drop points. Crystal Palace, who of course got the Europa Conference League final coming up. Botman plays it forward here for Newcastle, and Milenkovic with a calming pass to the right-hand side to Nico Williams. Nico Williams, who was rested for the win at Chelsea last time out in the league, but was only the second Premier League game he'd missed all season, as Joelinton tries to barge past the Welshman down the left-hand side. And that's a foul on Nico Williams, and it is a free kick to Nottingham Forest just outside their penalty area on the right-hand side. There's been a goal in the Women's FA Cup. Here's Molly Stevens.
They are heading to Wembley, FA Cup final bound after a stunning goal in the final 10 seconds of this match. Brighton lead Liverpool at Liverpool's home ground by 3-2.
Thanks very much, Molly. Here at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 0 in the Premier League. Matt Sells clears the ball away for Forest. He tried to give it long towards Awoniyi, and Botman comes across to barge into him, and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle down below us. Newcastle, whose away form this season has been a real problem for Eddie Howe. Only Wolves and Sunderland have scored fewer Premier League goals on their travels than Newcastle have. Voltemade and Osula given the task to lead the attack today. And Voltemade sort of playing in the 10 role in behind Osula, who's been given that central striking berth. He has been on a very good run of form, 3 goals in his last 4 Premier League games, 4 in his last 6 for the Dane, who's had to be patient to get his chance, but now he's had a run in the team, Clinton. Osula's really rising to the occasion.
Yeah, he's raw and he's still young, but you know what, he's keeping out Vissa and Nick Voltemade at times, but you know the one thing he's got pace, and he wants to learn, and he's a good young lad. I know him as well, Connor. He's good. He just wants to improve and get better. So I'm so happy that he's getting a run in the team, because there were moments during the season where I thought Newcastle were going to move him on, but he's done ever so well so far.
Celtic beat Rangers 3-1 in the lunchtime commentary here on 5 Live. They'll all play in midweek, but potentially setting up a title decider next Saturday lunchtime. Celtic against Hearts. We'll have the commentary for you live here on 5 Live, but that could be a game to win the title, a big decider, almost a final match in the Scottish Premiership. Does depend how they get on in midweek, though, of course, ahead of that. 0-0 here between Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, and that final whistle, Molly, is blown.
Well, the celebrations are in full swing here, because Brighton are heading to the FA Cup final at Wembley for the first time in their history. It's finished Liverpool 2, Brighton 3. They know they will face either Chelsea or Manchester City in that final. Those sides play later on, but Brighton, what a magnificent performance today. They have fought back from 2 goals down to win this tie 3-2 here at St Helens.
Thanks very much, Molly. Here we're watching Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. Forest, who lost to Villa on Thursday in that Europa League semi-final second leg. Villa are in action against Burnley right now, and there's been a goal there. Julia Bold.
It's gone to Burnley. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0. It started with Ugo Chukwu on the edge of the box. He had a shot. Matty Cash thought he had saved it. He's palmed it away. Jayden Anthony with the follow-up. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0.
Newcastle have just had another opportunity here. Tonali's dangerous cross from the right-hand side, and it was met on the volley, but off target.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great ball in from Tonali, and Will Asula just gets across Nico Williams. I think Williams just does enough. I'm watching a replay here, Connor. I think maybe he should score, really, or at least work Sells in the Forest goal. It's a great opportunity.
So Burnley leading Aston Villa by 1-0. Everton 1-0 up at Crystal Palace. 0-0 here between Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. All building up to a huge, mighty game at 4:30. West Ham against Arsenal. Gigantic implications at both ends of the table, as Jer Cunha here clears away for Nottingham Forest up over the halfway line, nowhere near any teammate. And with the sun on his back, Dan Burn is able to collect possession. He gives a short pass to Botman on through Malik Chow and out to Lewis Hall on the right-hand side. Good ball into the midfield to pick out Bruno Guimaraes, but Dominguez got good and close to him. Forest regained possession. Morato at the back prods it up towards Awoniyi. Difficult bounce in front of Taiwo Awoniyi, but the Nigeria does well to control it. Elliot Anderson gets the ball down on the deck, and Forest are motoring here. Dominguez over the halfway line to Bakwa. Now he's going to stretch the legs of Nico Williams, tried to sprint down the right-hand side, but Joelinton stepped down on the gas himself and managed to get there first. And the game beginning to open up a little bit now, as Tonali's pass picks out Osula, and he's one defender between him and the penalty area. Osula into the box, tries the little top turn, and then he runs into Milenkovic, and the game is beginning to warm up here. 0-0, Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, and that's why he's in the team, I think, ahead of the likes of Visser and Nick Voltemada, because he wants to stretch him behind. And I thought he was going to be in trouble there, Cunha, but Milenkovic recovered ever so well. But it's an open game, Connor.
No Morgan Gibbs-White for Nottingham Forest today. We've all seen the images, that really deep cut that he had in his forehead. They stitched him up, they got him on the bench on Thursday, but you can see why they won't risk his involvement here today. That said, he's been a really important player since Vitor Pereira has come into Nottingham Forest, and you take Morgan Gibbs out of the team, that does weaken Forest's side.
Yeah, they don't have the creativity, and it's a huge blow for Morgan Gibbs-White himself personally, because he wants to be on that plane to the World Cup as well, Connor, and he was in fantastic form. But yeah, I never thought he was going to play in the midweek, because the injury looked sickening, to be fair.
This is Botman retreating to the edge of his own penalty area, rolls it back to Nick Pope, who's wearing bright yellow today. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 0. 5 live from the BBC this sunny Sunday afternoon. Very much the feeling that summer is on the way, as Bruno Guimaraes gives it across to Malik Chow. And of course what that means is that the finishing line is approaching to this Premier League season. Voltemada tries to return the ball to Jacob Murphy. Low cross delivered into the middle. Milenkovic has scuffed it straight to Joe Linton on the edge of the D. Oh, clever ball from Joe Linton, and it might still fall for Asula, and back to Joe Linton again. Newcastle are queuing up here. Bruno Guimaraes is well challenged by Elliot Anderson in the D, and then Newcastle get it back again. Joe Linton sliding in on Igor Jesus. Good commitment from both sides. Newcastle holding on to possession, but now they're back near the halfway line once again. 0-0 on 5 live. This is Lewis Hall in possession, trying a tricky ball, an ambitious ball, trying to get it in behind Jer Cunha. Jacob Murphy's done really well to get onto that, and then Tonali can only toe poke it straight to the goalkeeper, Matt Sells. That's a decent passage of play from Newcastle.
Yeah, they've been good. They've been really good. They're on the front foot, causing a lot of problems. The likes of Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, they're having a big effect on the game. And in particular, Murphy, you know what you're going to get, Connor. Half a yard, and he delivers a great ball into the box.
Yeah, Eddie Howe will be really hoping for a strong end to the season. I mean, his entire tenure at Newcastle has been so positive overall. They've had their excitement and obviously the League Cup and, you know, big nights in the Champions League and all of that. But things petering just a little bit at the moment, and you look in 2026, Newcastle have lost 9 of their 16 Premier League games. Only relegated Burnley have lost more Premier League matches this calendar year, as Dan Brown takes the throw in from the wrong position there, and there's ructions everywhere and everyone's complaining. But Newcastle will want to steady the ship a little bit here. Just the last 4 or 5 months have probably been the most disappointing of Howe's tenure at the club.
Yeah, definitely. He needs to have a good end to the season. I like Eddie Howe. I think he's a top quality manager, a really good coach. But yeah, and obviously I'm just watching Tyndall because he does wind a lot of people up. Eddie Howe's coach beside him, and I'm just watching him winding up the Forest bench.
I think that's a huge part of his job description, actually.
Oh, definitely.
Wind up others.
Me and him would be arguing on the touchline, that's for sure.
You would fall for the bait.
I would, and he would fall for my bait as well. So it'd be a good bait with both of us.
This is Bruno Guimaraes in possession for Newcastle. He's midway inside Forest territory. Rolls a pass low out to the left-hand side to Dan Burn. 0-0 here on 5 live. Goals in the other 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Burnley leading Villa, Everton leading Palace. And the referee is going to hold up play for a pull on the shirt there by Nico Dominguez. Free kick to Newcastle near the centre circle. A quarter of an hour played here. Newcastle have had the best chances of Sula and Joe Linton. This is Hall on the right-hand side. Gives it into Tonali, further infield to Bruno Guimaraes. Good work by Awoniyi to win possession. And then Bruno Guimaraes trips him. And that's a free kick to Newcastle midway inside their own half.
Yeah, Forest can't get hold of the ball, and Awoniyi's having to come back and help his midfield because the free in midfield of Newcastle are causing them all kinds of problems. But he started well with Awoniyi. He's battling for possession. It's hard up there. Igor Jesus has to do more to help him as well.
Some parish notices to point you towards this coming week on 5 Live. On Tuesday, there is the Commentators' View special. John Murray, Ian Dennis and ABB will discuss their best moments of the season. On Wednesday, we'll concentrate on that huge night in the Scottish Premiership. And what a really interesting season it has been in the top flight in Scotland. We'll be all over that on Tuesday, maybe building up to a big decider next Saturday. Celtic beating Rangers 3-1 earlier on today, if you missed that. Elliot Anderson on the edge of his own penalty area tries to play the ball away, eventually up towards Awoniyi. He'll flick it in towards Jesus. Oh, that's a good little flick on it. Luca next will come forward, the German. He'll pick out Dylan Bakwa on the right-hand side. Bakwa into the penalty area. Tries to pull it back onto his left boot. Curls for the far post. That might have been going in, you know. And Lewis Hall had to clear it away with his head and out for a corner. That's the most threatening Nottingham Forest have been on the attack so far today.
Yeah, because Dan Burns not a natural left-back corner. So when you can get him squared up like that, as soon as you see Dan Burns' number and he's turning his back, you know you've got his number. And Bakwa does well, but you're right, a really important header from Lewis Hall.
Deluded Bakwa, who is still waiting for his first Nottingham Forest goal. They spent a lot of money on him, £30 million from Strasbourg back at the start of the season. That was a good weaving dribble from him, and he very nearly got the shot in on target. It would have been, were it not for the forehead of Lewis Hall putting it out for this corner kick. Left-hand side as Forest come forward. Newcastle's travelling fans are housed behind this goal. Their team is defending. It's an in-swinger towards the back post, headed down by Igor Jesus. Too many bodies in the way, and it pops up safely into the gloves of Nick Pope. Let's go back to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Everton. Here's Sahel.
Crystal Palace 0, Everton 1, Connor 17 minutes play, but a double save, one from Jordan Pickford and then one from Dean Henderson. Pickford denied Lacroix and Henderson denied Kieran Dewsbury Hall, all under the watchful eye of Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, the World Cup squad being named on the 22nd of May. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 1.
Thanks very much, Sir Hale. Burnley, who may be relegated already from the Premier League, hosting Aston Villa today, but they're going down fighting, Julia Bowles.
They are still Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0. Zian Fleming has gone close to doubling Burnley's lead. Morgan Rogers at the other end had a go. He's looped the ball high over the Burnley defence, but it was well over the crossbar. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0.
Thanks, Julia. Newcastle in possession at the moment here of the City ground. Murphy's attempted cross takes a deflection, but Matt Sells quickly off his goal line, sprinting out to the left along the byline to make sure that that ball did not go out for a corner kick. Just to let you know, coming up later on tonight after that big West Ham Arsenal game, 6:06 for Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Newcastle went on the edge of the penalty area. Voltemada's pass was poor though for Bruno Guimaraes. Needed to be more careful there, the German, who started well in his Newcastle career, but he's definitely gone off the boil. Bakwa here rolls the ball back to Milenkovic as Nottingham Forest hold on to possession on the edge of their own penalty area.
He just looks short on confidence. It's not a hard ball corner. It's a 2-yard pass to Bruno Guimaraes, but yeah, he's low on confidence. But you expect him to be like that because they've not really backed him and they've not been playing him recently, but he's got to do better than that.
Big Milenkovic hoists the ball away. And it's such a hoist that it doesn't go into the crowd, it goes onto the roof of the stand here at the City ground. So that'll be a souvenir for some kid outside who'll just see a ball pop over the top of the stand. As Newcastle take the throw in and Tonali sprays it over to the far side and to Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall, who today is making his 100th appearance for Newcastle. Gives the ball up to Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side. Back to Hall again. Midway inside Nottingham Forest territory. Forest in red, Newcastle in black and white. Newcastle playing right to left as we look down. Cross delivered in by Bruno Guimaraes. He was looking for Asula. Dan Burn has crept in field and heads it towards the edge of the box. Murphy lofts a crossfield ball which Nico Williams jumps and wins the header for, and finally Joe Linton gets the ball back down on the deck, gives it to Dan Burn up to the feet of Asuna. That looked like a push on the back by Milenkovic, and it is free kick to Newcastle. 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area they attack.
Yeah, he gets fortunate there, Will Asula, because he's trying to have too many touches. He just should roll that straight to Tonali, but yeah, it's good play from Newcastle. They've been the better team.
Newcastle are going to take the free kick a few yards further out than the collision actually happened. He was pushed back a bit, Asuna. By the time he hit the ground, he was further away from the penalty area, but this distance probably suits Bruno Guimaraes, not for a shot, but to try and deliver a cross into some of his giant teammates in the centre. I mean, of all the teams in the Premier League, you don't want to be defending against Voltemada and Dan Burn, and even Botman's a giant.
And Chiao as well.
Yes, Chiao,
yeah,
yes.
they've got some big, and Joe Linton as well. Throw him into the mix.
Yeah, land of the giants in the attack for Newcastle here. So Bruno Guimaraes is standing over the free kick. He rolls it to Lewis Hall. Back to Bruno Guimaraes. What are they up their sleeve here? Tonali shoots! Well, loads of power, but off target in the end. The element of surprise from the Italian there might well have caught Matt Sells unawares. 0-0.
Yeah, you can see it was always going to go to Tonali, but I think he's not really having a run-up. It's going to have to be some strike to beat Matt Sells from there. No backlift. He strikes it well, but it's just off target.
Newcastle, who beat Nottingham Forest the last time these sides met. That was at St James's Park in October. Bruno Guimaraes scored. Nick Voltemata got a penalty in that game. This is a goal kick for Forest. And eventually Sells plays it up over the halfway line, where Botman is ready to challenge early with Awoniyi. Botman has got the better of those 50-50 challenges so far. Here's Tonali with the pink on the soles of his boots, running forward, right of centre through the midfield, gets to within a few paces of the Nottingham Forest penalty area, gives it out to Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side. Now Bruno Guimaraes. He's got Igor Jesus working hard in front of him. Igor Jesus, who's sort of played the Morgan Gibbs White role today, with Awoniyi as the number 9. Here is Awoniyi. Little back heel back to Igor Jesus, and Forest have possession on the left-hand side, but Newcastle have got everyone back where they should be in a defensive formation. And Forest so far, Clinton, have found it difficult to break into the Newcastle half today.
Well, we said it, with no Morgan Gibbs White, they've got no creativity. They're good at keeping the ball, but they need to have more runners in behind.
This is Bakwa on the right-hand side of the midfield for Forest. Plays an ambitious crossfield ball here. He's looking for Luca Nett. What a good pass that is. Right onto the instep of the German. He'll take on Lewis Hall on the edge of the penalty area. Rolls it back now for Elliot Anderson against his old team. And he drills a shot a few yards wide of the target.
Yeah, it's not natural for Lewis Hall at the moment. I'm playing at right back. And we know that. He's left-footed. So I'm so surprised with Eddie Howe not playing Trippier, because every time Lewis Hall gets it, he comes back onto his left foot. And you, as a defender, the Forest defenders, you can read that easily. And it looks like Forest have a problem, because Sells has just gone down there and no one's near him.
Right, Match Sells. That was interesting. A moment ago with the goal kick, he didn't take the goal kick. It was Milenkovic, and he actually rolled it short to Sells, who was then put under pressure as he cleared the ball away. And I wonder, has he tweaked something here, or... And this is the cynical nature of modern football.
I was thinking the same
Is this
thing.
One of those,
tactical
let's have a team talk, and surprise, surprise, it's the goalkeeper. I mean, it's the boy who cried wolf. And, you know, he's probably really hurt here, but it happens so often, you kind of don't believe anyone anymore.
Ask me in 2 or 3 minutes when he gets up. And if he gets up and he's all right, Connor, I'll definitely say it was a tactical one.
Right, well, both teams are taking advantage of the sort of timeout here, so it gives us an opportunity to go round the grounds. If you want to listen to Burnley against Aston Villa, it's live on Sports Extra right now. Here's the latest from Julia Bold.
Yeah, Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0. Burnley in control of this, despite that 13-game winless run at home. They're just in control. Zian Fleming going close a couple of times, but Villa just looking tired. You wonder if it's that Europa League semi-final, not 72 hours ago. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0.
And it's been a bright start to the afternoon at Selhurst Park. A busy game in front of Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, very much so, Connor. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 1, 24 minutes played. Been a very attractive 24 minutes. Everton taking the early lead through James Tarkowski from a corner. Crystal Palace have responded themselves through Wharton, Richards and Lacroix, all having decent moments in front of goal. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 1.
You can watch the highlights of all of this weekend's Premier League action on Match of the Day tonight. It starts at 10:30 on BBC One. Kelly Cates will be joined by Shay Given and Danny Murphy. For now, this is 5 Live for the BBC. We're focusing on events at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest and Newcastle still not mathematically assured of their survival in the Premier League, and yet it would take very dramatic circumstances for them to be dragged into trouble as Nick Pope takes the goal kick for Newcastle away to our right-hand side. Matt Sells is fine, by the way. Back in goal for Forest as Jacob Murphy does well against Anderson here, and he sets off towards the Nottingham Forest penalty area, eventually tackled by Luca Nets, and maybe a chance of a counter-attack here. Botman had to get across quick, smart to stop Igor Jesus. He puts the ball out of play for a throw into Forest. Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, we need to see more from Igor Jesus. He hasn't been nowhere near good enough so far this afternoon.
Here come Newcastle again. Jacob Murphy's cross on the right-hand side straight to Nikola Milenkovic, who clears away. The game being played in very bright sunshine here. Myself and Clinton are sitting very much in the shade. It's actually cold in the shade today.
It's freezing in the shade, isn't it?
You need a t-shirt in the sun, and you need your coat in the shade of the City Ground today. Tonali has possession on the right-hand side. The wind just picks up a little bit. Bruno Guimaraes with the cross. Joe Linton tried to rise up against toughest teak Nikola Milenkovic. You won't push him off the ball in the air. So that looked like a pull on the arm by Osula, and the referee has given a free kick for a foul on Jair Cunha. And Jair Cunha, who's now started 3 Premier League games in a row. First time he's done that since moving to England.
Yeah, he's got to be better there, Will Osula. You trying to take people on, you just got Dan Burn. Just lay it back to Dan Burn and he can cross the ball. I know he's eager and he wants to impress, but has to be better in them situations.
So in about an hour's time, they'll be getting underway in the second of the Women's FA Cup semi-finals. Chelsea against Manchester City. Earlier on today, Brighton beat Liverpool. A dramatic late goal and finished Liverpool 2, Brighton 3. In the Premier League, Burnley still leading Villa, Everton still leading Palace, and 0-0 here between Nottingham Forest and Newcastle as Cunha gives the ball to Igor Jesus. Dominguez slips a little bit as it came to his feet. Back wall, play it back into Igor Jesus. They're working their way slowly and steadily deeper into Newcastle territory until Botman crunches it for Newcastle and wins possession back for the visitors. Joe Linton up to Voltemada. Little pocket of space that he can run into here. Gives it to Osula. Edge of the box. Osula's shot is blocked. Good work by Morato there. Newcastle still have possession. Lewis Hall 10 yards outside the box on the right hand side. Gives it to Bruno Guimaraes. Ball into Nick Voltemada. He should have controlled that. And it's another disappointing moment for the German. Good build up again.
This is why Bruno Guimaraes is a different player and one of the best in the Premier League. The passing is outstanding. If Nick Voltemada is playing regular, he controls that. It's such an easy pass. He's trying to control it with the right foot corner instead of his left foot. And it's a great pass, great pass.
Yeah, disappointing moment for Newcastle there. Just these little incidents are building and building for Eddie Howe. There is quality down there for Newcastle, but they have found it difficult to score goals, particularly on the road. They did get 3 at home against Brighton last weekend. Elliot Anderson has possession 10 yards inside his own half up against his old team today, and under pressure from Sandro Tonali, he will roll the ball back to Nikola Milenkovic, who scored against Newcastle last season at St James's Park. That was a match that Nottingham Forest lost by 4-3. Forest, who don't have a good Premier League record against today's opponents. Here is Morato, 10 yards outside his own box, and he rolls it back to Matt Sells. Sells to Cunha on the right-hand side. Somewhat loose pass, which Igor Jesus works hard to retain possession with, and that's a great ball from the Brazilian out to the left wing, and an opportunity for Nico Williams to come forward. Williams and Cunha have swapped flanks here. Williams on his right foot tries to shoot. Jacob Murphy, who tracked that run all the way, he's run 60 yards, Jacob Murphy, to come back and make that block. That's the sort of industry that Eddie Howe will want to see from Jacob Murphy today. Voltemada gives it to Dan Burn on the left-hand side, and Dan Burn rolls the ball back to Botman.
Yeah, they've changed shape. They were playing, I think they've gone, Cunha's now come out to right back and Nico Williams has gone out to left back. So they were playing a 5, they've gone to a 4 now, Connor.
And you can see why Vitor Pereira feels the need for that change, because Forest have been absorbing pressure a lot. As Bruno Guimaraes up towards Tonali. A little flick from the Italian, flamboyant, doesn't find its teammate, and then a foul by Tonali on Anderson, and Forest take the free kick quickly and avoid it too quickly, and you can hear the groans in the background as Newcastle regain possession. Little fancy Brazilian flick by Joe Linton with Brazilian yellow boots on. Here comes Voltemada, attacking the D of the penalty area, but he runs down a blind alley, runs into Morato, and Nottingham Forest regain possession again.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him because he's so short on confidence, because you know there's a player in there with Nick Voltemada, but everything he's doing at the moment is either losing it or rushing it, and he's not the Voltemada that we saw at the start of the season, but he's got to keep going and keep believing in himself.
Later on tonight on 5 Live at 8 o'clock, it's the Wayne Rooney Show. A special on what happened at Derby this evening. Wayne and Phil Gielka will be revealing all. That's 8 o'clock here on 5 Live, followed by the Premier League Review, who've got, they've got all the big names, including the hardest working man in show business. I'm told that Clinton Morrison, do you know this, Clinton? You're on the Premier League Review Show tonight. Is this news to you?
What, Premier League Review Show?
Yeah.
Where? What, on
5 Live.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm on the show. Sorry. I realised I thought it was something they were talking about me. Yeah. After the Arsenal game, I'm doing the Premier League show. I was thinking, am I doing something this evening? And then I realised, I am, mate. You are right, Connor.
Right, well, that'll be Rick Edwards and Clinton later on, about 8:30 this evening on 5 Live. This is 0-0 of the City crowd between Forest and Newcastle here, this 2 o'clock game in the Premier League. Aston Villa still trailing against Burnley, and Crystal Palace still trailing at home against Everton at Selhurst Park. Ball over the top here for Forest, as Net goes all the way to the byline, ends up leaning against the advertising hoardings and is unable to keep that ball in place. So a goal kick to Newcastle, and still scoreless here with a half an hour played.
Yeah, we need a goal, don't we, Connor? That is what we do. We do need a goal, because at the moment it's struggling big time. Newcastle are dominating, but no goalkeeper's been worked, or Sells hasn't been worked.
So a goal kick for Nick Pope away to our right hand side. And he'll send it right-footed up over the halfway line towards the tall Nick Voltemata, beat in the air by the even taller Nikola Milenkovic. Well, actually, I say that, Voltemata probably is a few inches taller than the Serb. Jolinton, who's having a good game, crunches in midfield and regains possession for Newcastle there as Tonali will take on the ball now. This is still around the halfway line area. Bruno Guimaraes up to Jolinton. One touch back to Bruno Guimaraes, who tried to drag it under his studs, and that didn't quite go the way he hoped. But Newcastle do hold on to the ball until Voltemata's heavy touch. And he's kind of been the weak link, I hate to say it, but they've had promising build-up. As soon as it goes to Voltemata, it often sort of collapses a little bit. 0-0 here. Back to Turf Moor, back to Julia Ball.
It's Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0, but it should be 2-0 to Burnley. Zian Fleming. Burnley were on the attack, and it was a great ball on the right-hand side from Loom Chowner into Fleming. He had time to control it. He's brought it down with his right foot. He's taken his shot, and somehow it has gone wide. It's still Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0.
Well, the women's won the international. England against New Zealand. Here's Emily Windsor.
Yeah, New Zealand 209 all out. 2 wickets apiece from Charlie Dean, Tilly Courtine-Coleman and Lauren Bell. This is very much a chase England should fancy themselves getting.
Thanks very much. Here is Igor Jesus for Nottingham Forest. Chance of a counter-attack here. Gives it up to Taiwo Awonye, who's 20 yards inside Newcastle territory. Gives it to Bakwa on the right-hand side. Dan Burn is backing away from him. Bakwa into the penalty area. Dan Burn ensures that he goes onto his right boot. He's around the defender. Pulls it back. Awonye could have scored. Bruno Guimaraes with some brilliant defending denies Nottingham Forest the opening goal here.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing if I'm Forest. I'm giving the ball to Bakwa. He's causing every time he's in a one-on-one situation, he don't know what's hitting him, Dan Burn. And it's hard for him because he's naturally a centre-back, and it's hard for him to move his feet so quickly, but Bakwa's the danger one. He does ever so well. He squares him up. Dan Burn thinks he can win it, and he can't touch him once he gets into the penalty area. And I think it's brilliant defending from Bruno Guimaraes, as you said, Connor.
5 live for the BBC. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 0. Earlier in the game, Bakwa cut in off the right wing to shoot left-footed across goal and was close. It had to be handed away by Lewis Hall. This time Dan Burn allowed him on the outside, but he was very effective doing that too. Another goal at Selhurst Park. Here's Sohail Sahi.
An equaliser. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1. Long punt upfield from Henderson. Strand Larsen won it, gave it to Sarr. They swapped passes. Sarr picked it up inside the penalty area after Muniz pulled it back, and he swept it home. Good finish from Sarr. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
Crystal Palace have got a high-profile end to the season coming up. They've got that Europa Conference League final. On Wednesday, they go to Manchester City. What's a huge game in the title race.
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace coming from behind to be back on level terms today. That's gone down well with the man beside me. Here comes Nico Williams for Nottingham Forest onto Luca Netz. Good vision to spot that there's a bit of space here for Jer Cunha. And now on to Bakwa, whose early delivery this time. It was the goalkeeper. Nick Pope is uncertain. Jer Cunha shoots, and Pope makes the save the second time. There was a swirl on the cross from Bakwa, and Pope sort of found himself in no man's land. He came way off his goal line, rushing out. Did get a touch to it, but not a firm touch. Jer Cunha following up, and then Pope making the save the second time.
Yeah, it's a poor decision from Nick Pope. If you got to come and clear everything out. He's just coming out there like Superman, and he's lucky that Cunha doesn't find the back of the net. But it's a good second save, though, Connor.
Corner taken quickly. Bakwa tries to drill it in low. Bruno Guimaraes with a block. Down goes Bakwa. The officials think that he's making the most of that no free kick. This could be controversial as Osula comes storming over the halfway line down the left-hand side. Netz has worked hard to sweep across from the left over to the right-hand side for Forest and to make an important challenge on Osula. And Bakwa is back up. He's sort of hopping. I think he's implying that his foot was trod on, something like that, as he tried to break into the penalty area. But the referee, Paul Tierney, today was close to that. And the assistant too, Richard West, who's on that near side, was only a few yards away, and between them they determined that wasn't a foul on Bakwa.
No, there's no contact. Bruno Guimaraes, nowhere. There's slight. It's not every contact's a foul, so I think they get that right.
Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 0. 5 live for the BBC. Coming up at 4:30. West Ham fighting relegation. And Arsenal trying to pursue their own bit of history. What an enormous few weeks coming up for Arsenal. Premier League title, Champions League fight. I mean, it's all there for them. As a mistake here by Nico Dominguez puts the ball out for a very unnecessary Newcastle corner kick.
Yeah, listen, sometimes you don't need to play in them areas. You don't need to, and they keep doing it in Nottingham Forest. Squeeze the pitch. You haven't really got out of your half. the whole half out of the 6-yard box. It's really difficult when I see stuff like that, Connor.
10 minutes to go of normal time until the break here at the City Ground. 0-0 between Forest and Newcastle. Dan Burn amongst those waiting for the delivery of this corner kick by Bruno Guimaraes towards the back post. Morata, in fact it was Jair Cunha who was able to jump highest to head it out of the penalty area, and then Luca Netz clears it away out for a throw-in to Newcastle, far side of the pitch from us. Been a disappointing few days for Nottingham Forest, and you can sort of sense that disappointment amongst the crowd. They're doing their best, but they're sort of having to work to keep the positivity. Always crushing to lose a semi-final, particularly in the nature they had it, having won the first leg, how they collapsed to the second leg at Villa Park on Thursday. But here's Bakwa, who's been the brightest of the bunch. 10 yards outside the penalty area, right-hand side takes on Tonali, who read exactly what Bakwa was going to do there and turned into the space where the ball was played, and now the chance of a counter-attack. Murphy hurdles over the ball to allow it run into his stride, then he sends it too far in front of Osula, and Milenkovic, very calm and collected, will work his way around the Dane, and Forest have safe possession on the edge of their own penalty area. It's clipped towards the halfway line, towards Awonye. Bruno Guimaraes tries to disrupt. He's fouled by Dominguez, but the referee says play on because Newcastle still have possession. Tonali has it here, 20 yards inside Nottingham Forest territory. Sandro Tonali, who's so good at doing that, just weaves in, finds a bit of space in the midfield. He's one of the best at doing that.
He is, and that is why there's a lot of clubs interested in him in the summer, Connor. They'll find it hard to keep hold of him, Newcastle will.
Bruno Guimaraes up to Volteman. He's giving it away again. Volteman is having a shocker here. He's given the ball straight to Awonye, and Newcastle just grateful that they had 3 defenders back. Here comes Luca Netz. Gives it to Nico Williams on the left-hand side, level with the edge of the penalty area, the Nottingham Forest attack. Low ball back to the feet of Elliot Anderson with the short sleeves, and he'll play it further across to the right-hand side to Jair Cunha. Jair Cunha, the 21-year-old Brazilian, back into Elliot Anderson once again. And Forest holding on to possession here inside Newcastle territory, still 0-0 on 5 live. Bakwa collects possession on the right-hand side, rolls it back to Jair Cunha. Infield to Anderson. This is patience from Newcastle. You can see with Anderson, as soon as he played that pass, both arms downward stretched, saying to his teammates, just camp, just hold on to the ball. Let's have a spell here where we keep it. A little bit of anxiety about that from Forest fans who'd like them to be a bit more forward-thinking. Here it comes from Anderson, played into the penalty area, stooping header by Botman, heads it out of the box. Bruno Guimaraes rides the challenge of Milenkovic. That was really good. In fact, it was Dominguez that he was able to brush off. Joe Linton tries to take on Morata, and Morata's done well. Jair Cunha's done well to win possession back. I keep mixing up those two. Jair Cunha and Morata, they look so familiar, as Bakwa gets a chance to attack down the right-hand side. 0-0 on the City Ground. 5 live from the BBC. Bakwa rolls it in front of Nets. Not the best pass you've ever seen. Botman's able to intercept, and the ball is cleared away. Let's go back to Turf Moor. Burnley against Aston Villa with Julia Ball.
It's now Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1. That equaliser coming as Morgan Rogers in the box has sent it to Ollie Watkins, headed it into the back of the net. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1.
It's a good couple of weeks that Ollie Watkins is having.
Just in time, isn't it?
I was going to say, yeah.
He's the man in possession now for me, for sure. He's scoring goals at the crucial part. So surely Thomas Tuchel, he knows what he can do. He's got to be on that plane, surely.
Yes, it must be an interesting one. You're picking a World Cup squad, trying to balance between, do you take people who have been good over the course of the season, but maybe their highlights were in the first half of the campaign, or do you pick the form players who are beginning to run in the goals? And if you look for Ollie Watkins, since March, scored against West Ham, scored 2 against Bologna Europa League, scored against Bologna the other game in that, scored 2 against Sunderland, scored against Forest on Thursday, scores again today. He's banging on the door. This is Joe Linton for Newcastle, gets to the edge of the penalty area. Dominguez with the interception. Could be the chance of a counter-attack here. Does Awonye have the pace? He's sprinting up against Botman. Awonye just outside the penalty area. Botman's got back goal side. Igor Jesus tries to shoot. Lewis Hall, not for the first time today, makes a good block.
Yeah, it was good play between Jesus and Awonye, and I thought just go and get, he had the run on Botman, but Botman got back ever so well, but go and square him up. You're one-on-one, take him into the box. You take him into the box, he can't touch you.
Tripped by Igor Jesus on Bruno Guimaraes. You can hear the boos. That's going to be a free kick. Free kick for Newcastle on the edge of the penalty area. Julia Bull was telling us about a goal at Turf Moor. However, Julia,
We are back to Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0. We've had a long VAR check. Ollie Watkins ruled offside. Burnley still have the lead. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, shouldn't be in the England squad, Marcus. Right, here comes Nets attacking the Newcastle penalty area. Malik Chow does a good job. And those three, Byrne, Botman, Chow, they have done well at keeping Forest at bay. It's been a match in which Newcastle have had most of the possession, most of the territory of the Forest half. Forest's attacks have been counter-attacks, and just when you think, oh, there might have an opportunity here, one of those tall defenders seems to do the right thing and win the possession back for Eddie Howe's side. 5 live from the BBC. We're on BBC Sounds as well. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 0, with half-time now quickly approaching. I wonder if Nick Voltemada will see through the full 90 minutes today, Clinton.
No, I don't think he'll see through the full 90 minutes. He might make a change at half-time. He might be, even though Newcastle have been the better team. I just feel he's been disappointed. I want to see him stay on because I know as a player in that situation, it can be difficult when you're low on confidence. He needs a goal. That's what he needs.
Newcastle, who are yet to have a shot on target in the match. 4 times this season, they've gone through a full first half without a shot on target. And that sort of impetus has been a problem for Eddie Howe. You can see him down there. He's clapping his hands. He's trying to drum up a bit of encouragement here. We mentioned how it's cool in the shade. He's got what looks to be a very warm sort of winter jacket on down there, Eddie Howe, because the technical area is just in the shade. The pitch itself bathed in sunshine, but Eddie Howe has to stand in the shade today, and he's got the jacket on. Here comes Voltemada attacking for Newcastle. Good pass. Osula. Big chance. Saved by Matt Sells. First shot on target for Newcastle today. And the Belgian goalkeeper makes a very important stop. Voltemada would be giving him a bit of stick. He did well there. And Osula, who's been in the goals, couldn't slip it past the keeper.
He's got to score, Osula. And you know why he doesn't score?
Hang on, it's an opportunity. Ball played into the penalty area. Joe Linton slightly lost the flight of it in the air, and the header is off target. We'll come back to Clinton in just a moment, because at Turf Moor, Julia,
there has been an equaliser and VAR hasn't got involved. It's Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1. It's Ross Barkley who's got on the end of a corner. He's headed it behind him over the top of the keeper, Max Weiss. It's Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1.
That is a third goal of the season for Ross Barkley, which means he has scored as many in the Premier League this campaign as he did in all of last season. Clinton.
Yeah, he gets into that, and watching the replay again, it's brilliant play from Voltemada, and I've got to give credit to young Osula. The movement's brilliant. Once he takes that touches, Milenkovic and Sells comes to him. He's got to dink it over the goalie and the centre half. It was a good block and a really good save, but he has to be dinking that, especially with the form he's been in. He's been in good goal scoring form, but good play from Nick Voltemada.
90 seconds of normal time remaining in the first half of the City Ground. Forest 0, Newcastle 0. It's a throw-in for the visitors, taken by Lewis Hall, playing out of position at right back today. Newcastle work it back to the halfway line, into the centre circle for Sven Botman, who comes forward and gives it short into the midfield to Bruno Guimaraes, who is immediately tackled by Dominguez. That's good. Now, chance for Forest late in the first half. 4 on the attack, really up against 3. Voltemada has made a great surge to come. I think everything's gave him stick. He started playing really well, Voltemada. What a good piece of defensive work that was for the German.
Yeah, brilliant. You can talk about him going forward and has he been up to it, but one thing you can do if you're in a bad patch, work hard. And Bruno Guimaraes looked like he's not carrying an injury, but you can see he's just coming back from his injury because his recovery run was nowhere near good enough. But brilliant from Nick Voltemada.
Nick Voltemada, they spent an awful lot of money on. Newcastle's record signing from Stuttgart last summer. Hasn't scored in the Premier League since December. He's not done great on the edge of the attacking fringes of things today, but that was good work in defence. He's looking for his first goal in 17 Premier League games today, Voltemada, as Morata here plays the ball up towards Luca Nets in the far side. It's a good turn up against Hall. Now, Nets for Forest, into Awonye, in the penalty area. The angle is tight and he opts not to shoot. Chow was covering that. We move into stoppages, 2 minutes being added on here. Forest remain on the attack. Nico Williams, left-hand side, rolls it back into a central position for Dominguez. Dominguez back to Morato. Morato, who started at Chelsea on Monday. That was his first Premier League start since early February. He's kept his place in the team today. Backward now in possession on the right-hand side. This slow, patient build-up again from Forest. There's Milenkovic now hoisted, but that's a good ball. Elliot Anderson could be in, but Nick Pope was sprinting off his goal line to get there first.
Yeah, good goalkeeping from Nick Pope, really assured. Good ball from Milenkovic, good run from Anderson. It's been slow, and that's what Forest need, runners from midfield, but yeah, really good run, but good goalkeeping from Nick Pope.
Forest 0, Newcastle 0. Ball played forward by Newcastle, looking for Jacob Murphy, is too close to the goalkeeper, and that is held onto by Mats Sells. Sells bowls the ball out underarm. Milenkovic right-footed up towards the halfway line. He goes Jesus as a... he's done well the second time it came back to him. And now he finds Bakwa into the penalty area for Forest. Right-hand side, 3 defenders immediately in front of him. Anderson sends in a cross-come shot. Tight angle, sails over the crossbar. Goal kick to Newcastle. Away to our right-hand side, still scoreless here.
Yeah, you can see the fans are excited when Bakwa gets on the ball, and they want him to be positive and keep having a go at Dan Burn, but the other players have to step up to the mark. You can't rely on just Bakwa.
So a first half that is heading towards its conclusion here, all square. Nick Pope takes his time over the goal kick away to our right-hand side. We'll be building up to the enormous 4:30 game, West Ham against Arsenal on 5 Live. Correspondent John Murray will be joined by Rob Green for commentary of that one here on 5 Live. As Awonye claims he's been fouled by Botman there, but the referee, Paul Tierney, says no, and play continues, and that is the final action of the first half. So Osuna with the biggest chance of the game, late in this opening 45 minutes, denied by Mats Sells, and two teams who'll probably both be hoping Clinton for to step up a gear or two in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. I think Newcastle are the ones. Forest will take a point because they know the point will make them safe and they'll be in the Premier League again next season. And with the injuries they've got, it's up to Newcastle to take the run in and try and get the league. And they've created chances, in particular the Asula one has to score, but good defending from Milenkovic and a good save from themselves.
Newcastle haven't drawn a domestic game yet in 2026. Their last one was 2-2 at home to Chelsea. That was before Christmas. It is all square here for now. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle United 0.
And the half-time whistle's just gone at Selhurst. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1. Lively first half. Steve Tarkowski putting Everton into the lead via a corner. Crystal Palace response was immediate, with both Wharton and Richards going close before Sarr levelled the game up. It was a long clearance by Henderson. Strand Larsen flicked it onto Sarr. He picked out Muniz. His cross from the right-hand side found Sarr once again. His first attempt was blocked, but the second was clinically finished. No clean sheet then for the England goalkeepers Jordan Pickford and Dean Henderson in front of the watching England manager Thomas Tuchel. Half-time, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1.
It's still Burnley 1, Villa 1. We'll get there as soon as the half-time whistle goes. Let's go into the County Championship cricket. Trent Bridge, Kevin Howells.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Steve. Lovely sunny afternoon here at Trent Bridge, and this is a real battle of equals. The top two at the top of the First Division. Of course, defending champions Notts against Surrey. They finished first and second last season as well. But Surrey, in their first innings, 359 for 6. They trail by 56 runs. Josh Tong has been bowling with real menace and pace. 28 overs this innings, 4 for 89, including the wicket of Dan Lawrence for 104. Twice Tong, though, has struck his England teammate Gus Atkinson on the helmet. Atkinson continued to bat on, but he's now actually just left the field, probably just to be properly checked over. So hopefully everything will be okay at the close when we'll check on that again. Elsewhere, Sam Haines century for Warwickshire versus Yorkshire. Warwickshire 466 for 5, lead Yorkshire by 461. And our first result of the weekend in Division 2, Middlesex have beaten Lancashire by 6 wickets, having bowled Lancashire all out for 84 second innings. Navya Sharma taking 4 wickets in just 10 balls.
And if you want more cricket, on Sports Extra 3, you'll get commentary of England against New Zealand in the first of their one-day internationals. Roughly 10 minutes until England will be batting. New Zealand were all out for 210 off 48.4 overs. And the half-time whistle's now gone at Turf Moor in the Premier League. Julia.
It's Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1. It's been end-to-end for 45 minutes. The opening goal, Leslie Ugachukwu had a go on the edge of the box. Martinez thought he'd saved it. He's palmed it away, and Aston Villa just couldn't clear it. Jayden Anthony then pounced on the follow-up and tucked it in the bottom right-hand corner. Burnley then had plenty of chances to double their lead. The best for Zian Fleming, and he should have scored. He had time to control it with his right foot. He was centre of goal when he's taken the shot. shot. It has somehow gone wide. Villa then thought they'd equalised at the other end. Ollie Watkins found the back of the net. His close range header, though, ruled offside by VAR. The equaliser finally came. John McGinn sending the ball into Ross Barkley, who was in the 6-yard box. He's headed it behind him over the top of keeper Max Weiss. It is Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1.
Some absolutely great football kicking off in the next 40 minutes. We've got loads of places to get to, including our first trip of the day to the London Stadium. That, remember, is a 4:30 kickoff in the Premier League. Full commentary of West Ham United versus Arsenal. Also reaction on the way to Celtic beating Rangers by 3-1 and moving a point behind Hearts at the top. All after the news on 5 Live with Joe Critcher.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The British military has parachuted medical staff and supplies onto a remote volcanic island in the South Atlantic to help a man with suspected hantavirus. The British citizen who lives on Tristan da Cunha was on the cruise ship at the centre of an outbreak of the disease. Brigadier Ed Cartwright from 16 Air Assault Brigade says the jump was tricky.
Very high winds, and the island is pretty small, so it's about 10 or 15 kilometres across in all directions. We had to dispatch the parachutists about 5 kilometres out over the Atlantic. They would then have to get out of the aircraft, turn into wind, be blown backwards over the island, and then conduct a landing right on the edge of the island. And obviously the consequence of getting that wrong is you end up in the Atlantic.
Meanwhile, a plane carrying Spanish passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship, which is docked in Tenerife, has arrived in Madrid. 22 British passengers and crew will be repatriated to the UK later and transferred to an isolation facility in a hospital on Merseyside. Several more Labour MPs say they can't support Sir Keir Starmer after the party suffered major losses in Thursday's elections. More than 30 backbenchers are now calling for the Prime Minister to quit. The Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson says Sir Keir will set out a fresh direction for Labour and the UK tomorrow. Iranian state media is reporting the country's government has sent its response to a US proposal to end the war in the region via mediators in Pakistan. The details of the US plan aren't known, but Donald Trump has previously said Iran must agree to remove all nuclear material. And it's the TV BAFTAs tonight, with the Netflix show Adolescence leading the way with 6 nominations, including Best Limited Drama. It's also up for the Memorable Moment Award alongside The Celebrity Traitors, which is decided by a public vote.
The 8th of August, 1963, a gang of thieves hold up a British Royal Mail train on its way from Glasgow to London. More than £2 million was stolen, and Ronnie Biggs was the most famous face of the Great Train Robbery.
Daniel Mays reveals the true story of Ronnie Biggs.
A train robbery, a prison escape, and 36 years on the run.
Gangster presents the story of Ronnie Biggs.
Listen first on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Right, half-times in the Premier League. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1, Palace 1, Everton 1 and Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle 0. Second half commentary on all of those games is available on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Already today, Celtic have beaten Rangers 3-1 to move just 1 point below Scottish Premiership leaders Hearts. Here's Celtic manager Martin O'Neill.
It was a big win for us. I thought we were terrific, particularly in the second half, coming from a goal behind against big rivals. I think that I couldn't be more delighted with the effort of the team, and certain individuals were magnificent.
I imagine what may have pleased you most of all was just the reaction that you got. Maybe it's just an indication of what's been happening recently. Every time you've been questioned, you've had the answers.
Well, at this minute, we have to go to the well a few more times. A midweek game is going to be exceptionally difficult. Obviously, Motherwell are a really fine footballing team. And but you know, I think way back at when we lost at Tannadice, so probably the only time that we all questioned ourselves. Then we had a wee bit of time to think about it because it was the international break. The team have come roaring back. Everybody's played a big part. Substitutes coming on, changing course of matches as well too for us. All of that, but the whole effort of the team has been terrific. Listen, we may fall short, who knows, at the end of it all, but it's been a fabulous effort and spurred on here by a raucous crowd who I actually believe have carried us over the line a few times here in recent times.
Yeah, the atmosphere was quite something, particularly when that Maeda goal went in. You are 2 wins away now from yet another league title.
Well, those 2 wins are it's like climbing a mountain, isn't it? Really, very, very big matches, big tasks for us ahead, and but we can only deal with it accordingly.
That's Martin O'Neill speaking to BBC Radio Scotland. And just a reminder, if Celtic avoid defeat at Motherwell on Wednesday, the title race will definitely go to the final day, which is next Saturday. Celtic play the Leaders' Hearts. There is full commentary on 5 Live immediately before the FA Cup final. Rangers' season is done, though. They know they will finish 3rd. Here's manager Danny Rowe.
Of course it hurts, makes us disappointed, makes us also angry, and we should be disappointed. We should be, say, it's at the moment not what we want. I think we had a great position before the split, and in 3 games we dropped really back, and this is hard to take. This is what we have to improve and develop very quick, because we want to be ready in the new season to be the best, and for the best we have to develop.
Danny Rowe. The first of today's League 2 playoff semi-finals kicks off in the next couple of minutes. Grimsby Town hosts Salford in the first leg. Rob Lawes at Blundell Park.
And you can feel the nervous excitement around a sold-out Blundell Park here this afternoon, Steve. It's been 22 years since Grimsby last played in the 3rd tier. Their draw at Tranmere on the final day saw them force their way into the playoffs. Salford missed out on automatic promotion by a single point. And of all the teams for them to come up against, it's a Grimsby side who've done the double over them this season. 4 changes for the home side. Amongst them, Charles Vernon drops to the bench. James Cabia comes in. He's got 9 goals in his last 10. Salford make 3 changes, which includes Ehib Ashioman dropping out. Academy graduate Kelly Namai starts in his place.
Sounds absolutely fantastic there. Rob will keep us up to date. The other semi-final first leg, Chesterfield versus Notts County, a Derbyshire derby. That'll be good. That one is 6 o'clock this evening. Also, we've got the National League playoff final coming up as well. Kicks off in the next couple of minutes at Wembley Stadium. So Boreham Wood looking to make it back-to-back promotions against Rochdale, who are about 5 seconds away from going up automatically. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, this is the showpiece event of the non-league calendar. Boreham Wood and Rochdale going head-to-head for a place in the Football League. For Boreham Wood, the past 2 years have been a wild ride. Luke Garrard returning to the club to navigate them from National League South. Can he go back-to-back and drive them to the promised land of the Football League? Boreham Wood unchanged from their semi-final win over Carlisle. 26-goal Manny Desirue leads the line for Rochdale as the national anthem booms around Wembley Stadium. Kick-off imminent.
At 3:30, we've got the second of the Women's FA Cup semi-finals. Chelsea against this season's WSL champions Manchester City. Paul Gilmore's at Stamford Bridge.
Afternoon, Steve. A repeat of the 2022 final for the chance to play Brighton at Wembley. It's the holders against the newly crowned league champions. Manchester City were emphatic 5-1 winners when they met Chelsea back in February, but City boss Andre Jeglerts believes this will be a very different opposition today. The numbers certainly support that statement. Since that heavy defeat, Sonia Bombaster's side have responded impressively, winning 10 and drawing 1 of their last 12 matches. Hampton, Berman, Nuskin, Thompson and Walsh come back into the side for Chelsea. Man City welcome back Keating, Clinton and Uhabi.
The winners will play Brighton in the final, a club founded in the 1960s who have never been to the Women's FA Cup final before. They are there. A hugely dramatic 3-2 win over Liverpool, earned by a dramatic injury time goal from Nadine Nordum.
I still can't believe it. It feels like a dream. It was, I think, the last 10 seconds of the game. It's insane. We go to Wembley. If I say it out loud, it sounds a bit crazy.
What's the plan now? Go and watch Chelsea, Manchester City somewhere on the best home, maybe?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I will do maybe 1 or 2 beers. No, I'm joking. This is something we need to celebrate together. And if we watch the game, I think so, yes. But apart from that, we will listen to music, dancing, singing, celebrating. I think we deserved that.
Love that. Nadine Nordman there speaking to Molly Stevens. There's so much great live football, and the climax of it for us today is West Ham versus Arsenal in the Premier League. 4:30, full commentary from the London Stadium, and it's just huge John Murray at both ends of the table.
Yes, it is, and very often the atmosphere, what this place is like as a football stadium, is criticised, isn't it? Well, today West Ham need it to have an atmosphere, and if things go their way, it will do. I promise you that, because we've only got a fortnight left of this Premier League season, but not too many of the remaining matches will pack as much meaning as this one does.
A point. Oh, stand by. We've had a goal already at Grimsby. Rob Lowe.
And the sound will tell you that it's gone Grimsby's way. The first attack of the game. It comes within the first minute, across into the box. Worked out towards Rhys Staunton, who hit it on the volley first time. And Matt Young in the Salford goal was unmoved. It's Grimsby with the dream start. They lead Salford by 1-0.
And there's an indicator, John, of exactly why a massive home atmosphere could make all the difference for West Ham.
And that puts it very nicely, doesn't it? And I think, it could well be yet that the nerves come in again for Arsenal. I think there is the feeling, experienced it on Tuesday night when they won through to the Champions League final, and also the last couple of wins in the Premier League. But today promises to be a test, and part of the reason for that is because West Ham are absolutely fighting for their lives. And if West Ham lose this, I think they've really got a battle on their hands to stay in the Premier League this season. So that's how it is, how important it is for them. And also to see where they are, 18th, third bottom of the Premier League table. Right now, their form since January, they are better than that.
John, thank you very much. Correspondent John Murray in position. West Ham versus Arsenal. Massive game in the Premier League at 4:30. Right, this is your choice of listening again right now. If you want the second half in the Premier League of Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1, you'll get it on Sports Extra. If you want the second half of Palace 1, Everton 1, that's on Sports Extra 2. Here on 5 Live, our focus is the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle 0, and Clinton Morrison is with Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Steve. So Forest are going to make a change here at half-time. Ryan Yates is going to come on. He started against Chelsea in the Premier League on Monday. That was his first Premier League start since October. He's coming on to try and give a bit more energy into the midfield. That, dare I say it, Clinton, there was a little bit of on-the-beach feel about that first half, and both teams will want to kick on a bit now.
Yeah, me and your commentary was never on the beach. No. We were top class as usual. Standard, like top 4 Champions League. But yeah, that game, the first half was definitely, things can only get better, Conor.
Yes, right, here we go. 0-0. Forest are going to play from right to left as we look down for this second period. Matt Sells will play the ball forward, and Newcastle sticking with the same 11 that they began with. Nico Dominguez is the player who's made way, by the way, to allow Ryan Yates into the game. Here come Forest. Left channel, Awonye had a little look up. Oh, Yates, first touch of the ball's a fresh air shot, tried to hit it from the edge of the box, and then that shot does come in on target from Igor Jesus, and Nick Pope reacted well, stretching out his arm. The angle was tight, but that is a save. That's a better start to the second half from Nottingham Forest. Let's go straight to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Everton. Sahel.
Early goal in the second half for Everton. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. Beto, the goal scorer. They won the ball inside their own half, played it through the thirds, and Beto latched onto a through ball right side of the penalty area, hustled off the defender and slid it underneath the legs of Henderson. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2.
Yeah, I was at the Hill Dickinson on Monday when Everton were disappointed not to beat Manchester City. They played really well in the second half of that game before the heroics of Jeremy Doku laid on. But Everton, another goal for them at Selhurst as Tonali here for Newcastle takes a speculative strike. He was well outside the penalty area, and he has drilled that away off target. Now, it's a very big day for Grimsby Town and for Salford City. Rob Law's watching events at Blundell Park. There's been a goal, Rob.
There has. It's Grimsby 1, Salford 1. 5 minutes in, plenty of goals in this one. Callum Cisse breaking through, plenty of black and white Grimsby shirts around him, but he was able to keep his composure and slot the ball home. Grimsby 1, Salford 1.
Grimsby, who did a league double over Salford during the regular season, and yes, promotion hopes dangling now. As here at the City Ground, Dan Burn in possession for Newcastle, far side of the field from us, the left as Newcastle defend, And Tonali here will play it into some space for Malik Chow. So the way these teams line up, Matt Sells is the goalkeeper for Nottingham Forest. At the moment, it's a back four that's got Jer Cunha on the right-hand side, Milenkovic and Morato in the middle, Nico Williams operating on the left-hand side. In midfield, Ryan Yates alongside Elliot Anderson. Luca Netz is on the left here. Backward attacking down the right-hand side, Igor Jesus supporting Taiwo Awonye in attack. As Elliot Anderson allows the ball past his body cleverly to elude William Osula. Forest have got possession inside their own half, and it's back to the edge of the their penalty area. Elliot Anderson here just pretends to go one way, cuts back at himself, head up, scanning the horizon, looking for a safe pass, and opts to give it short to Nico Williams. Both teams trying to get out of second gear here. Nico Williams back into the penalty area to Morato, back to the feet of Matt Sells, and he'll clear it right-footed long, up over the halfway line, where Malik Chow will beat Awonye in the air, and then that might have been a handball by Bruno Guimaraes. The referee says play on. Jer Cunha tries to play at one side of Joe Linton, who got a touch, and then Joe Linton slides in to keep the ball and play on the far side, and Newcastle United have regained possession. Tonali drops his shoulder, accelerates into the Nottingham Forest half, gives it back out to Joe Linton playing in the left wing at the moment. Here comes the left foot cross from Joe Linton, met by the head of Luca Netz inside the penalty area, and then a heavy collision, Igor Jesus into the face of Lewis Hall. I don't know if anything was intended there, but Lewis Hall got that flush on the face, and down he goes, and the referee is going to ask the physio to come on to see if he needs treatment here.
He booked him and gave him a yellow card, Igor Jesus. He was a bit late, to be fair. I don't think there was any malice in it. I think he's just genuinely going for the ball, but you can understand, he catches Lewis Hall. It's a sore one.
It's a sort of shoulder into the face.
So he does deserve the yellow card.
Lewis Hall seemed to be feeling his mouth, his teeth, that sort of area, as he was looking towards the physio as they came out. So early stages here in the second half of the City Ground. We might have a little delay in play here while Lewis Hall in his 100th appearance for Newcastle received some treatment. Elsewhere today we talked about Grimsby taking the lead against Salford in that promotion playoff in League 2. And let's go for an update to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Everton. Back to Sahil Sai.
We've played 5 minutes of this second half. Connor, still Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. Been a good response from Crystal Palace since they've gone behind for the second time this afternoon. It was a cross from the right-hand side. There's a bit of a muddle inside the Everton penalty area until the Everton defence sorted themselves out and cleared it away. Crystal Palace, they're looking for their second equaliser of the game. It's currently Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2.
Everton who've been able to retake the lead there. Still 0-0 between these two at the City Ground. Lewis Hall's back up on his feet. He will now, as the protocol dictates, he'll have to leave the pitch to come back on again. We're going to go for an update to Burnley, but I'll just ask Julie Bull to hold fire for a moment, because Newcastle are about to take the free kick, and the way Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali are eyeing this up, they may be interested in a shot. Now this is long range. This is sort of Dominic Szoboszlai territory. He's hit a few from here, but I haven't seen many in the Premier League scored from this sort of distance. Bruno Guimaraes strikes it in low, and it's not a million miles away. It went through a few legs, but ultimately wide of the target. We go to Turf Moor and Julia Ball.
Still Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1 in the 49th minute. It started a bit scrappy, this one. Tyrone Mings just picked up a booking for a late challenge on Hannibal 2. Still Burnley 1, Aston Villa 1.
The playoff in the National League, Boreham Wood against Rochdale at Wembley. Aaron Paul.
Really positive start for Boreham Wood early on inside the first minute. In fact, Leonard Inde played through. He had two defenders either side of him, able to hold them off, fired the shot in towards goal, inside the box. Really good save by Oliver Watmouth in the Rochdale goal. 0-0.
Boreham Wood hoping to reach the Football League for the very first time in their history. Rochdale hoping to get back after 3 seasons out of the limelight. Malik Chow has possession for Newcastle, edge of his own penalty area. Lewis Hall, who had received treatment, is I was about to say he's back on the pitch, and I couldn't find him down there, but I see him now. He's there he is. I'm so used to looking for him in left full-back position. Yeah. He's playing right back, but yes, he has recovered from that knock. As Bruno Guimaraes plays a good ball in front of Osula, good acceleration, challenges inside the penalty area, Nico Williams, and he was too forceful there, Osula. He claims that was a good old-fashioned shoulder charge, but the officials believed it was more robust than that, and they've given a free kick to Forest. Still 0-0.
Yeah, it was good play from Bruno Guimaraes. Listen, I've been in situations like that, and I can understand Nico Williams does ever so well, but I'm not sure if that's a foul to me, Connor. I just think he nudges. Is like a. Let me watch that. No, it's not a foul. I don't understand why that's a foul. And that's a referee who doesn't really know the game.
Long ball for Forest. Awonyi is challenged by Malik Chow. Lewis Hall touches it up to Jacob Murphy. Nico Williams nips in, but last touch came off the Welshman, so that is going to be a throw-in to Newcastle. 0-0. Newcastle have only had one shot on target in the first half. Malik Chow here rolls the ball across to Sven Botman. Botman will give it out to Dan Burn on the left-hand side. And Forest just holding a line along the halfway line here. They're happy for Newcastle to have possession inside their own territory. 52 minutes on the stadium clock. Tonali drops deep in between the central defenders, and he's attempting a bit of a Hollywood pass here out towards Dan Burn. Travels such a long distance that COYI was able to nip across and make the interception. Forest don't hold on to possession for long. Nice reverse pass by Joelinton to Bruno Guimaraes, and then he'll give it out to Dan Burn on the left wing. Burn, does he keep it in play here? It was right on the chalk of the touchline. The flag has stayed down. Play continues. Joelinton just outside the box. Lewis Hall into the penalty area now to Jacob Murphy. Onto his left-favoured left boot. Williams made a little prod attack, and then Tonali tried to sort of element of surprise, just fluffed it, spoon it into the penalty area, but it surprised his own teammates as much as the opposition. No one was anticipating that, and it carries through to Matt Sells.
Yeah, he panicked really, and that's the first time you probably see Tonali panic in them positions. He should have took a touch and brought it under control. He had much more time.
Forest who significantly strengthened their survival hopes by beating Chelsea last time out. A result that might be enough to keep them up as it is, but victory today would rubber stamp it. As a yellow card is shown to Ryan Yates, the half-time substitute. He's just been booked by referee Paul Tierney, and the free kick to Newcastle midway inside Forest territory, right-hand side of the pitch as they come forward. It's a game absolutely crying out for a goal, this. 0-0 at the City Ground at 5 Live. You can listen to Burnley against Villa on Sports Extra. Palace against Everton is on Sports Extra 3. As Bruno Guimaraes prepares to take the free kick. This is not shooting distance. Lewis Hall is completely unmarked in field, and he's got outstretched arms saying, come on, just roll it to me. But Bruno Guimaraes, I think, wants to deliver this into the box. But taking forever over. Right, he does do that. He rolls it to Lewis Hall. Now it's floated in. Botman's unmarked to the far post. Heads it across the edge of the 6-yard box. And then it comes out for Tonali, who shoots. And it's blocked by Morata. And Forest defending well in front of goalkeeper Matt Sells, who's not forced to make a save there. Joelinton has come in late with a challenge on COYI. And having seen a few yellow cards shown lately, the Forest fans are up in arms here, and they want a booking for Joelinton too.
Yeah, they do. But the Ryan Yates one, I understand why, because he stamps down on Will Asula. Here, I think Joelinton just catches him, to be fair. It is a yellow card.
So, Igor Jesus, Ryan Yates on yellows, but Joelinton not shown a yellow card for that. 0-0. Forest take the free kick, launched long into Newcastle territory, bounces over the head of Lewis Hall. Nico Williams has crept in from the left wing, controls it near the corner angle of the penalty area, eludes Murphy as he delivers across, but too far in front of Igor Jesus, and Dan Burn is able to clear it away. Newcastle midway inside their own half. Joelinton beaten to possession. Tonali wins it back again, gives it to Joelinton, out to Voltemad on the left-hand side, midway inside his own half. Rolls it back to Dan Burn. Forrester trying to press now, trying to make Newcastle uncomfortable, but Newcastle trusts the process, hold on to possession, and the space now for Malik Chow on the left-hand side. 1-1 between Burnley and Villa, Turf Moor. Everton leading Palace 2-1 at Selhurst Park. Coming up later on, West Ham against Arsenal. Climactic game at 4:30. This is Lewis Hall, and that's a dreadful pass. 10 yards behind Joelinton. Wolf whistles from the Forest fans. 0-0.
Listen, Lewis Hall's a very good player. I do not know why he's playing at right back anyhow. You've got a good right back who's loads of England caps, and he still can do a job in Kieran Trippier. He's sitting on the bench. It's not comfortable for Lewis Hall at right back.
Sun blazing down on the pitch here. I wonder if Eddie Howe is thinking about making any substitutions. Trippier, as we mentioned, on the bench. Younes Talks, it's really not taken off for him, his Newcastle United career. But Anthony Gordon's on the bench, Harvey Barnes, these are guys who you could see coming on and having an impact in a game that's crying out for an impact.
Yeah, definitely. And Alanga against his old team, you always want to have that extra spark in you, don't you? So if you've got someone like Alanga who's done well here at Forest.
Newcastle have spent £55 million to sign Anthony Alanga in the summer. He scored a couple of goals in 3 goals he's got in cup competitions, but he's yet to score in the Premier League for Newcastle. Here comes Igor Jesus. Chance for Forest, saved by Nick Pope. Saved with his outstretched left boot. Yates following up, shoots, and it's off target. But a little hesitation on the edge of their own penalty area for Newcastle, and Igor Jesus was nearly in to capitalise, and Nick Pope makes a very big save. Matt Selb's made a big save in the first half. That's been Nick Pope's busiest moment of the match as we go back to Turf Moor and Julia Bold.
It's now Burnley 1, Aston Villa 2. A mix-up with the Burnley keeper and defence as in Ollie Watkins give the visitors the lead. It's Burnley 1, Aston Villa 2.
There's a one-knee shot there that was saved by Nick Pope, and Pope, who, reaction to the goalkeeper, getting that left leg out to make a very important save. Down the other end, Voltemada's touch is heavy, and he continues to not impress when he gets it in the final third.
Yeah, he should score, Connor. You're right. A one, he should score. It's a mix-up between Chiao and Botman, and he should really score. It looks like Newcastle making a couple of substitutions. I see Barnes and Ramsey, I think, coming back in.
Plenty of activity down there in the visitors' technical area. Lewis Hall has possession for Newcastle, right-hand side, cutting in field. He's a very much left-footed player, and then he's challenged by Ryan Yates, and the referee gives the free kick to Nottingham Forest. So Yates came across to make the tackle, and Lewis Hall is adjudged to have followed through too forcefully. Yates, having prodded the ball away, was then connected into by Lewis Hall, and that's a free kick to Forest just outside the D of their penalty area. So Ramsey and Barnes getting ready to come on for Newcastle, as Clinton said.
Yeah, it's just not natural for him, and I'll keep saying it. I just seen the camera pen on Kieran Trippier. He must be sitting there thinking, what more can I do? Lewis Hall's a very, very good left back. That's where he should be playing, and he's playing in my position at right back.
Harvey Barnes, who scored against Brighton last time out, that was his actual first Premier League goal since January. He has scored 15 times this season in all competitions, but Barnes scored against Forest here at the City Ground last season. That was a game that Newcastle won by 3-1. Eddie Howe hoping that Harvey Barnes can inject a bit of urgency into his team's attack, and Jacob Ramsey getting ready to come on as well. As Forest have possession, Luca Netz tries to head the ball infield, and it comes back to Netz again, and now Ryan Yates will come to within 10 yards of the Newcastle penalty area. He keeps going right to the edge of the box, gives it to Nico Williams on the right hand side, twists one way and then the other, and hangs in across. That's way too high for all his colleagues at the centre, and that very harmlessly goes out for a goal kick to Newcastle away to our left hand side. Very much listening to the 5 Live commentary from London Stadium later on. West Ham against Arsenal. The team news is in. Here's correspondent John Murray.
Well, 2 changes for West Ham. Nuno's switching to 3 central defenders with Todibo in, Wan-Bissaka's in at right back, so Walker, Peters and Pablo are among the subs today. And Arsenal, same team again, 3rd match in a row. Lewis Skelly continues in midfield.
Thanks very much, John. Straight to Turf Moor, Julia Bold.
It's now Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2. He's had several chances in this game to get a goal today. Zian Fleming, though, centre of goal. He's hit it right foot beyond Emi Martinez. Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2.
Bit of fight yet in Burnley, despite their relegation having already been confirmed. So Harvey Barnes has come on here in place of Jacob Murphy. And the other Jacob Ramsey, has come on in place of Nick Voltemada, who continues to frustrate.
But Ramsey's gone onto the left side. That goes to show me that Gordon won't be here in the summer for sure. If he, England international and he can't get in the wide areas, it shows to me he won't be here in the summer for sure.
A bit of reports this week that Bayern Munich were interested in.
Well, let me tell you something. How's he going to get in there ahead of their 2 wide men? I understand though it'd be a good move for him, but I'm not sure he's Diaz or Elise's, but he is a good player, very good player, Gordon.
He's still right up there in terms of the top scorers, the Champions League this season, which is a great testament, and obviously going to bring him admirers from elsewhere. Here is Joe Linton for Newcastle, gives it to Dan Burn, who's come forward left hand side, low cross, miscued, Bruno Guimaraes straight at the keeper, Mansels can only parry, and Morato clears off the goal line. Big chance for Newcastle. created by Dan Burn down the left. Bruno Guimaraes in again, shoots again, saved by Matt Sells, and not just saved by the Belgian, pushed away from danger too. Those are two giant opportunities back-to-back for Newcastle.
Yeah, the first one, Bruno Guimaraes will be disappointed. He should be scoring. Comfortable save for Sells. The second one, really good save from Sells, but brilliant from Bruno. He's now growing into the game, and there's a mistake from Milenkovic with the first clearance, but yeah, he should be doing better with the first one. Second one, good save.
Newcastle hoping they're on top now. Joe Linton, central location, gives it out to recently arrived substitute Harvey Barnes down the right-hand side. Lewis Hall available on the overlap. Back infield come Newcastle to Sandro Tonali. Nobody close to him. He edges towards the edge of the box, tried to flick it in there. Blocked by Elliot Anderson. And then Taiwo Awoniyi is clearly found by Malik Chow. And that's going to be a free kick. Free kick to Nottingham Forest midway inside their own half. Still Forest 0, Newcastle 0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Yeah, it was good play from Dan Burn down the left-hand side. It's just a poor clearance. It's Morata's clearance, but he had more time, Bruno, than Guimaraes than he thought, and it wasn't the best. He side-to-side footed instead of putting his laces through it.
Earlier on today, Celtic beat Rangers 3-1 in the Old Firm, and it all sets up a very exciting climax to the Scottish Premiership race. But Rangers are now out of it with the 2 games to go. Celtic and Hearts, who play each other at Celtic Park next Saturday. That's a game you can listen to Saturday lunchtime live on 5 Live. It could be the big decider, depending how things go in midweek. Celtic have got to make sure they don't slip up against Motherwell. Change here now coming for Forest, who are about to introduce Omari Hutchinson. And he's going to come on in place of Dylan Bakwa, who I think deservedly gets warm applause across the City crowd. We haven't mentioned his name as much in the second period, but he was probably Forest's best player in the first half.
Yeah, he was. He hasn't got much of the ball. He's had to do a lot more defending because Newcastle have been on the front foot in the second half. But yeah, he was outstanding in that first half. You're right, Connor.
Omari Hutchinson, who scored his first goal for Forest not too long ago against Manchester City, will come on to play on that right wing. And we have got 25 minutes or so of normal time to play at the City ground. And a game that, as things stand, is not going to live long in the memory, Clinton. We won't be talking about this one in the years to come.
No,
but who knows? Maybe someone's going to pop up with a wonder goal any second now.
You never know.
It's Bruno Guimaraes, halfway line. Tries to come forward, rolls it in front of Joe Linton. One side of the defender, tries to sprinter on the other. Nico Williams comes sliding across and clears the ball away. Elliot Anderson's headed down to Hutchinson for his first touch since coming on. 0-0. Bruno Guimaraes gets in front of Ryan Yates. Tries to come infield. Good challenge. Oh, I thought that was a good tackle. Referee's given the free kick to Newcastle. This is a promising position. It's within shooting range. Be interested to see the replay of that again. So Bruno Guimaraes attacking the area. Cross comes Milenkovic. He gets the ball.
Yeah.
You think too
No, I think. Yeah, he does. He gets the ball. You're right, Connor. I can understand why Milenkovic, from one angle, it doesn't look like he touches the ball, but from that angle, Connor, you're spot on. He gets the ball. I understand why he feels aggrieved. It's not a foul. You're spot on.
He slides in. He gets the ball. Then Bruno Guimaraes continues over him and obviously, gets tripped. But I mean, if that's not allowed as a sliding tackle,
then we might as well give it up, isn't it?
So Newcastle will hope to take advantage of this. Free kick within shooting range, and already today they've had to go from distances that you wouldn't quite call shooting range. Can they work Matt Sells
Connor,
here?
I'm seeing loads of people over the ball, and it looks like the youngster Asulo said, "I'm taking it." Wow. He's got some confidence, isn't he?
He's got a rocket of a shot. I mean, there was a real committee meeting, wasn't there? There was 6-7 players huddled around the ball. Osula, if body language means anything,
that's what I
he
mean.
Wants this. Lewis Hall is standing there as well.
You're not taking it if you're a centre forward outside the box.
So Osula on a hot run of scoring form. 4 goals in his last 6, 3 in his last 4 in the Premier League. There's a draft excluder of Omari Hutchinson. Osula hits it over the wall. I think it hit the crossbar. Great free kick from Osula. Matt Sells may even have touched it onto the bar. Still alive, second shot comes in, but Bruno Guimaraes didn't catch it with any velocity, and Matt Sells makes the save. Well, this replay is going to be interesting. That might be a brilliant save from Sells. A rocket of a free kick from Osula. Is it straight onto the crossbar?
Yeah, I think it's straight onto the crossbar. It's great technique. I didn't know he had that in the locker, by the way. What a free kick that is.
And you know what? It took a dink off the wall as well. It did. That was a great free kick. Here come Forest down the other end. Omari Hutchinson to within 10 yards of the byline. Pulls it infield to Ryan Yates. Back out to Hutchinson. Steadies himself. Delivery is weak, though. Straight at Lewis Hall, who clears away for Newcastle. It's the quality of that final ball that's really been below standard in this match today. 0-0 here between Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. What about the National League playoff? We'll go to Wembley in just a moment. Let's see if Nico Williams can keep the ball in play here. He does by the byline on the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes comes out to cover him. Luca Nets, edge of the penalty area that Forest attack. Back out to Nico Williams. Crossing opportunity here, sends it in with his right boot, headed down by Dan Byrne. Newcastle haven't fully cleared, but Forest are back to the halfway line. So, Boreham Wood against Rochdale at Wembley. Here's Aaron Paul.
Boreham Wood 1, Rochdale 0. It is Matt Rush with the opener for the Wood. Really good work by Abdul Malik down the left-hand side. Pure trickery, bravery, and he smashed across in towards the box. And Matt Rush has used his chest to divert it past the goalkeeper. The back line stood still. Rush has Boreham Wood 1-0 up.
Thanks very much, Aaron. Here in the City Ground, it is still scoreless between Forest and Newcastle. Igor Jesus tries to turn Tonali, who's seen all that before, and he easily wins possession back for Newcastle. Gives it to Harvey Barnes. Not seen too much of the ball since coming up. Barnes with the bright yellow boots. Short pass back to Lewis Hall. Midway inside Forest territory. Now back to Barnes again, who's just outside the penalty area. Dinks it in, looking for Lewis Hall, but cut out by Elliot Anderson, whose interception stats have been outstanding this season for Nottingham Forest. And then Malik Chow clears the ball away, straight out of play for a throw into Forest left full-back position for them.
Yeah, to be fair, you're right about Elliot Anderson. He snuffs out the danger, isn't he? He's played a lot of football this season and had a lot to deal with, but he's been outstanding.
I think we've pulled a short straw today, Clinton. There's been 4 goals at Turf Moor, Burnley 2, Villa 2, 3 goals at Selhurst Park. Palace still trailing Everton 2-1. Still 0-0 here at the City Ground, with West Ham against Arsenal to come at 4:30. Here come Forest. Elliot Anderson, low ball up to the feet of Awoniyi. Good strength through Awoniyi, but too strong in the referee's view. He's deemed to have fouled the defender, and you can hear in the background what Nottingham Forest fans think of that.
I have to see it again, because I feel like it's no way is that foul. The referees, they don't know the game. They think they know the game. They don't know the game. Just referee when it's a big decision. Let the game flow. I've said it. I've heard Michael Brown talk about it the other day. They want to get involved too much. In particular, this referee as well.
Johan Wissa has been prepared to come on as a substitute for Newcastle. There's Nico Williams here, trapped in his left full-back position, is twisting and turning and trying to shrug off the attentions of Harvey Barnes. Eventually he rolls it into Milenkovic, who's only half cleared, straight to Bruno Guimaraes, but Igor Jesus is at a good game today, nips in to win possession. And then Morato, who never really convinces me on the ball, but he sells a lovely little sidestep there, and then that's a good pass in front of Omari Hutchinson, if he can keep it in play, but he can't. Well, you can hear the warm applause. They know that was a good attempted pass, even if it does go out for a throw.
The technique was a joke from Elliot Anderson. That would have been the pass of the season. Unbelievable.
Some player, really is Elliot Anderson. Right, here is Johan Wissa, who, with this appearance, he has now made more than 3 times as many Premier League substitute appearances as starts for Newcastle so far. Scored loads of goals with Brentford. Only 1 Premier League goal in a Newcastle shirt. And he's going to come on here in place of Osula, whose scoring run comes to an end, but he did hit the crossbar with that free kick in the second half.
Yeah, he works hard. He's done ever so well. He's probably playing a lot more minutes than he probably thought he would have, but he thoroughly deserves it because he's been the best striker at Newcastle over the last month and a half.
They'll be getting started right now at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are playing Manchester City in the Women's FA Cup semi-final. Earlier on today, a late winner by Nordham, so Brighton beat Liverpool in that competition to reach the final themselves. There's Elliot Anderson again. He's continuing to impress the Forest fans here, winning possession twice there. He has become such a favourite of the City Ground, Elliot Anderson, and putting in a strong performance here against his former employers, Newcastle United, today. We're into the last 20 minutes of the match. Still there for either of these teams to go and win it. As Forest attack down the left-hand side. Oh, Anderson, that's brilliant. Up against Harvey Barnes. I think he nutmegged him there by the corner flag.
Nutmegged him, then he shoved him and said, get on the weights.
Get out of my way.
Exactly.
To a man who he'll know well, of course, from their exchanges on the training ground as teammates of the past, as Morato clips it forward here just too high for Nico Williams. Barnes gets it back down on the deck, picks out Bruno Guimaraes, still 20 yards inside his own half, plays a good pass up towards Wissa, and Wissa's got support here. Joe Linton further out to the left hand side to Ramsey. Jacob Ramsey to the edge of the box, shooting position blocked by Milenkovic, sits up for Joe Linton, and it's saved by Matt Sells, and Wissa's following up, claiming there's a handball. VAR will look at that in the background. Play continues for now. Barnes delivers a cross in. Morato wins the header. Ico Jesus will control. Forest with a chance of a counter-attack here. The game beginning to open up. Omari Hutchinson sprinting at Botman, closing in on the penalty area. Hutchinson shoots, and it's blocked by Botman, who celebrates that block. He knows he did well there.
He did. He done his job. It makes me laugh now. Our defenders celebrate, but fair play. Strikers celebrate scoring goals. It's just as good as scoring a goal. It's really good defending from Botman.
That was good from Botman. He knew it was all down to him. He was the last man standing.
Oh, there was
he made the block.
I am watching that with the Vissa header. Morata's hand is out. It does touch it. His arm is out. I don't know if VAR are having a look at it, but you can understand why they wanted a penalty.
Bruno Guimaraes is continuing those conversations with the referee right now as Forest make a change. Taiwo Awoniyi goes off, replaced by the ever popular Chris Wood. Chris Wood, who was out this season between October and April, missing for 6 months with injury, but he comes on now to feature in a 4th Premier League game in a row against his old team. Former Newcastle striker Chris Wood is on for his 100th appearance for Nottingham Forest, and whenever Chris Wood's on the pitch, there's always the chance of a goal.
Yeah, definitely. They've missed him this season. They wouldn't be in this position if Chris Wood would have been fit and firing for sure. He's had horrendous injuries this season, but yeah, I'm glad to see him back on the pitch.
Chris Wood's goals, who, but for a technicality, would have fired Forest into the Champions League last season, really. This is possession on the far side with Botman up towards Dan Burn on the halfway line, back into Joe Linton. Now Bruno Guimaraes finds Ramsey. That's a great pass, and Harvey Barnes is in, and Harvey Barnes will score! Back-to-back Premier League goals for Barnes. Sprung from the bench to break the long deadlock at the City ground, and Newcastle United have the lead. 2 subs combining. Brilliant through pass from Jacob Ramsey, and what a cool finish that was from Harvey Barnes. Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, for me it's all about Ramsey. The pass is outstanding, the timing of the pass, and credit to Barnes. Once he gets into that position, he's ice cool, but the build-up play from Newcastle was brilliant. Got into little pockets, but the pass from Ramsey, sensational pass from Ramsey, and a brilliant finish from Harvey Barnes.
That is his 16th goal of the season in all competitions. He is now just 1 behind Anthony Gordon in terms of Newcastle's top scorer this campaign. A game, Clinton, we said it, crying out for a goal, and things have improved. The last few minutes, both have started to really go for it. Forest will be crushed here. Still not mathematically safe in the Premier League, and now they trail at home.
Yeah, you need a response now. You do need a response. The pass, the move's brilliant. Bruno Guimaraes round the corner to Ramsey, and Ramsey could have took another touch of space. He said no. My timing on my pass is brilliant, and he was ice cool. Harvey Barnes, he got across Morata.
Goal at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Everton. Sohail Sahi.
Crystal Palace are back level. It's Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2, and it's that man, Jean-Philippe Mateta, coming off the bench to equalise. Mitchell with a cross. Mateta controls, swivels on a sixpence, and lashes it past Jordan Pickford. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2.
2-2 there, 2-2 at Turf Moor. There's going to be a lot of goals to watch on Match of the Day tonight, 10:30 on BBC One. Let's check in on that Chelsea against Manchester City FA Cup semi-final for the women. This is Paul Gilmore.
A really strong start from the home team, Chelsea. 0-0 though. Keating saved from Thompson. James then attempted to lob Keating, who just about kept it out in front of a watching Serena Wigman. Still 0-0.
What about the women's one-day international, England against New Zealand? Fionn Wynn.
Positive start for England. They are chasing 211. They are 42 for 1. Jodie Grewcock on debut is the only wicket to fall. So England a further 169 runs for victory with 9 wickets in hand.
Thanks very much, Fiona. A collision of 2 players here, and both are down. It's the 2 number 3s, Nico Williams and Lewis Hall, who both fully committed to challenge for the ball there, and both have been hurt, Clinton.
Yeah, I think Nico Williams, I think he gets there first, and then maybe his follow-through that catches Lewis Hall, but he definitely gets the ball first, Nico Williams. Lewis Hall runs into him. It's Lewis Hall that collides into Nico Williams. It's his right foot that catches him. It's not a foul.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's just an intent by both to win the ball there, but both have hurt themselves in the process, so a bit of a delay here as both will need treatment. If it stays like this, Newcastle will move up to 48 points. That is the same as Sunderland and Fulham. They would go above the pair of those on goal difference, so Newcastle could be up to 11th. That's only a point behind Everton as things stand, with Everton in possession. While we've got a break in play here, let's go back to Wembley. Bournemouth against Rochdale, trying to get into the Football League in front of Aaron Paul.
Bournemouth 1, Rochdale 0. The Wood still leading through that Matt Rush effort, but what a chance for Bournemouth to find a second. Abdul Malik, who's been unbelievable this game, left side of the area, just arcs a run 25-26 yards out, edge of the D, able to curl a shot in towards goal. It looked like it was beating the goalkeeper. Watmouth just getting the tips to his fingers to get it over the bar. Big warning for Rochdale. They haven't laid a glove on Bournemouth this game. Bournemouth 1, Rochdale now.
The League Two promotion playoff semi-finals. There was a flurry of early goals in that one at Grimsby, and let's get an update on what's happened since at Blundell Park with Rob Law.
Who says there's no goals in the playoffs this season? Connor, such a good game. Both teams having penalty appeals waved away, both with chances on goal, momentum swinging one way and the other. Salford have had the latest chance with Ryan Graydon bullying his way into the area, but saw his shot drift wide. Still Grimsby 1, Salford 1 with 10 to go till half-time.
Thanks, Rob. Still a delay here. Nico Williams is back up on his feet. Lewis Hall has still been worked on by the Newcastle medical staff. We mentioned today that it's really warm in the sunshine, really cold in the shade. I've just seen Johan Wissa, who's recently come on as a sub, take off his match shirt to remove the sort of underlayer, because he was cold on the bench, and now suddenly he's in the blaze of the sunshine.
Yeah, he is. Why take a risk with Lewis Hall? I don't understand what the problem is with Kieran Trippier. I do not know for the life of me.
It's one of those, it feels there must be more to it. He's down there speaking with Jason Dinnell, actually, is Kieran Trippier, and he's probably going, why aren't you bringing me on? Body language tells an awful lot after that
exactly
exchange. Whatever Tyndall said to him was not greeted warmly by Kieran Trippier, who has announced he will be leaving Newcastle in the summer on the expiration of his contract. Goal in the Women's FA Cup at Stamford Bridge. Here's Paul Gilmore.
Chelsea 1, Manchester City 0. Erin Cuthbert has the opener. A deflected effort from just outside the box. Wrong-footed Keating, and the FA Cup holders are in the lead against the champions. 1-0.
There's Forrester on the attack here. Igor Jesus, toe poke, saved by Nick Pope. Clever shot, no backswing. Just tried to catch the keeper unawares. He was heading for the bottom corner. Pope did well to react and get down to make the save.
Yeah, it was good play from Igor Jesus. There was no space, so the only shot he could do was the toe poke, and he's unlucky.
So Chelsea in the lead against Manchester City in the Women's FA Cup semi-finals. Chelsea, who were pipped to the title earlier on this week by today's opponents. Still early stages in that semi after Brighton won against Liverpool earlier on today. At the City ground, Newcastle lead Forest by a goal to 0, and Chris Wood has upended Tonali in the centre circle. Tonali went down quite dramatically there as Chris Wood comes across and helps him back to his feet. I mean, he's very strong, Chris Wood, but he pulls the shirt, and we're seeing the replay. I think there might be a little bit of Italian dramatics about how Tonali went down there.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have been helping him back to his feet, that's for sure.
And Chris Wood had just worried he was going to get booked for that. That's why he was immediately on the responsive. Ramsey controls the ball for Newcastle here. Eddie Howe hoping that his team are doing enough here to see it through. They still have 10 minutes of normal time to play at the City ground. Tonali will get a few boos now for that dramatic fall to the ground. He's in possession, gives it to Sven Botman. Can Forest grab the second wind here? It just feels like Newcastle have more energy in this second half after what's been a gruelling week for Forest. The semi-final exit in the Europa League at Phillip Park on Thursday. Bruno Guimaraes halfway line up to Joe Linton. Back to Malik Chow again. Victor Pereira realising that his team needs a fresh injection, is about to bring on McAtee, and he's about to bring on Lorenzo Luca as well. Bruno Guimaraes skips away from nets, tries to play it into the penalty area, looking for Younes Talks, who's hardly had a touch since coming on. Anderson to nets, back to Elliot Anderson once again. Now there's been a goal at Blundell Park in the League 2 playoff, Rob Law.
Well, it's been given, but Grimsby feel aggrieved. It came from a corner. Salford have the lead. Abdebola Alou's headed the ball in. It took a deflection on its way. The referee has given it. Grimsby 1, Salford 2.
Thanks very much. So Luca and McAtee preparing to come on for Nottingham Forest. James McAtee, who scored against Newcastle in the past as a Manchester City player, he comes on in place of Luca Netz, who is making only his second Premier League start today. And Lorenzo Luca, the Italian forward, will come on in place of Igor Jesus. So Igor Jesus, who has been Forest top scorer in all competitions this season, most of them in the Europa League, he is replaced by Lorenzo Luca, who scored against Leeds on his debut. That was back in early February. That's been his only Premier League goal so far. He's immediately into the thick of battle, challenging for the ball with Sven Botman. Chris Wood gets a touch. It's a new look attack now for Forest. Luca and Wood. Forest have possession back near the centre circle with Elliot Anderson. 5 live for the BBC, with huge game between West Ham and Arsenal coming up. Full commentary at 4:30. Hutchinson crosses from the right-hand side. Yates tries to shoot, didn't catch it cleanly, and Sven Botman should be able to clear away.
Yeah, he's trying to. It's a difficult skill for Yates, and he doesn't get anything on it. It's good defending in the end from Botman.
Newcastle building their way out for the back. Lewis Hall up to Jacob Ramsey, no one marking him, so he can stride over the halfway line. Bruno Guimaraes calls for it and receives just out the D. Here's Yoane Wissa, and it's just not happening for him either. Couldn't get it into a position to shoot. Tries to rectify the situation. Newcastle hold on to possession, but they should have got away at a shot there. Milenkovic goes crunching hard into Wissa, who hits the deck of the penalty area. Referee is obliged to stop play there because Wissa's holding his head. But I don't think there's any case that that's going to be a penalty. And a little bit like Nick Voltemade earlier on in the match, it's just not happening in terms of scoring a goal for Yoane Wissa.
Because he's running at 100 miles an hour. Bruno is going to play it to me because he's so eager to get his shot away. And that is why he miscontrols it, because he's obviously thinking about scoring instead of controlling the football first and foremost.
So a reminder of the state of play in the Premier League this afternoon. Burnley 2, Villa 2, Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2. And here Nottingham Forest 0, Newcastle 1. All the goals, all the highlights of today and yesterday's games. Match of the day, 10:30 on BBC One, presented by Kelly Cates with Shay Given and Danny Murphy in the studio this evening. Botman jumps for Newcastle, wins a header straight to Tonali. Dan Burn in the left full-back position, up to Jacob Ramsey, who's been neat and tidy since coming on. Sandro Tonali will pick out Yoane Wissa, still inside the centre circle. Tries to skip away from Morata. Morata gets a touch but gives it straight to Bruno Guimaraes. Newcastle looking strong to defend this lead with just over 5 minutes of normal time remaining. Forest hoping that, having made a flurry of second half subs, they can create a late chance of their own to maybe grab an equaliser. But if, and I know it's a big if, but if West Ham were to beat Arsenal later on today, Forest losing here, suddenly they would be looking nervously over their shoulders yet again. And remember, Spurs are in action tomorrow. They host Leeds tomorrow night in North London. Here, free kick to Newcastle on the halfway line, and they're starting to take their time over these now, starting to run down the clock.
Yeah, they are, to be fair. And Forest haven't really created much in the whole game. A one-year chance in the second half was a great opportunity where they should have took the lead. But as we said earlier, when you're missing the players like Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi, it's always going to be difficult for you.
Newcastle have only kept one clean sheet in their last 13 Premier League matches coming into this game. And I think Eddie Howe would be just about as delighted with the clean sheet as he would the victory today, as Malik Chow gives it up to Lewis Hall. Second goal for Newcastle would kill this off now. Harvey Barnes, the man whose goal separates the teams, shuffles it on to Jacob Ramsey, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Joe Linton gets involved. Forest need to make a tackle here. Joe Linton, he's got all the way into the penalty area. He's ghosted past 3 defenders. This is Bruno Guimaraes. He falls over. He was trying to twist. He was trying to pirouette, and he lost his footing, Bruno Guimaraes. And Forest are relieved to get it away there.
Yeah, Joe Linton he looked like Ronaldinho there, the way he was skipping past players. It was brilliant feat from him. And you're right, Bruno Guimaraes was going to get his shot away, and he falls over at a crucial time.
We sort of questioned were Forest a bit on the beach now after the Europa League semi-final defeat. I think a few defenders said that the suntan lotion applied and the sunglasses on as Joe Linton went scampering past them there. There was no effort to stop him. This is Nico Williams on the left-hand side for Forest. Gives the ball back into Elliot Anderson, who, well, we know his mindset. He'll continue to battle on. But at the moment, it's been a disappointing performance from Nottingham Forest at home. Victor Pereira, who's been able to instill a confidence in the team in the league since his arrival. But this will be a disappointment. I guess, look, there are circumstances. Here comes a cross into the penalty area. Not over yet, of course. Chris Wood challenges for it, but the land of the Giants in there, and Newcastle are able to head it out. And Anderson gets involved again. Low ball to little McAtee. Tries to return it to Anderson. Clever. Oh, what a good goal that is! McAtee sets up Elliot Anderson, who scores the equaliser against his old team. It's a 4th Premier League goal of the season for Elliot Anderson. And if anyone was going to drag Forest back on level terms here, it's their number 8. He's hurt himself in the process of scoring, but he's got this game back to 1-1. Forest 1, Newcastle 1.
And you said they don't keep clean sheets, and that is why nowhere near good enough. But you know what? He's a player, by the way, and it would have to be Anderson against Newcastle, his boyhood team, which he probably didn't want to leave, and Newcastle didn't want to sell him. It's a brilliant finish. He's had an outstanding season. Once he gets that ball and he plays it to McAtee, and McAtee with a great little ball, the touch is outstanding. He wants it more than Lewis Hall. He wanted that ball more than Lewis Hall. He takes a good touch and the finish is outstanding. What a finish that is to the far corner.
That's a quality goal from Nottingham Forest on a day that they have not offered much. McAtee, brilliant. Anderson, he needed strength. He needed determination. He needed skill from the tight angle to finish it. Lovely interchange between the pair of them. And Newcastle United's lead is gone, and it's another late goal conceded. We're about to enter the 89th minute, and suddenly Forest fans are feeling better about this. 1-1 on 5 line.
Yeah, and it's Hall, he can't tackle with his right foot there because he's not naturally right-footed to go there. But the finish from Anderson's outstanding, thoroughly deserved.
1-1, and it ain't over yet. Malik Chow defending, gets there ahead of Chris Wood. Anderson wins a header in the air, falls to the deck, but Forest have got possession. Luca to Nico Williams, strong in the tackle against Harvey Barnes. Could Forest grab a winner here? Williams prevented from going into the penalty area by Lewis Hall, and Newcastle with a free kick, and the Forest fans are disgusted with that, and there are loud complaints all over the City ground. Free kick to Newcastle on the edge of their own penalty area.
Yeah, it is a foul. The whole of the coaching staff and getting off the bench, I don't know why. Sit down and relax and let your manager be the only one standing up.
Free kick to Newcastle, 10 yards outside their own penalty area. We're about to move into stoppage time. Harvey Barnes, who thought he'd won this for Newcastle, but Elliot Anderson, who scored against Manchester City in March. His other Premier League goal this season was a penalty against Leeds in November. And now Lorenzo Luca goes scampering after a pass down the right wing, but he won't keep the ball in play. And that goes out for a throw-in to Newcastle. Left-hand side for them. And for Eddie Howe, this is a real disappointment. He was hoping he was about to catch a break here, but Newcastle's unsteady away form appears to be on the verge of continuing, as Forest have suddenly found a whole new host of ideas. McAtee's crossed on the left-hand side. He was looking for Luca. Headed out by Botman. Collected by Omari Hutchinson. He tries to shoot, but it's blocked down. Fourth official held up. Is that 7?
Yes.
7 minutes to go. Here comes Ramsey. Rides the challenge of McAtee well. Gives it to the feet of Bruno Guimaraes. Forest are working harder for it now, but Joe Linton takes on the surge for Newcastle. Does he fancy the shot? He does. But it's always rising and into the Newcastle fans behind that goal that Newcastle attack in the second half here. 1-1 at the City ground. And let's go back to Blundell Park. Grimsby against Salford. Have they reached half-time, Rob Law?
They have. Grimsby 1, Salford 2. Drama and controversy here at sold-out Blundell Park. The game being played at a beautifully chaotic pace. Grimsby took the lead inside 30 seconds through Rhys Staunton. That was then levelled out by Salford 4 minutes later through Callum Cisse. Then controversy towards the end of the half. Adebola Alowu with a header. Grimsby feel that there was an offside in there impeding the vision of the goalkeeper, but the goal stands and Salford lead at the break 2-1.
Thanks, Rob. Beautifully chaotic as a playoff should be. Here we are in stoppages at the City Ground. A game that was quite uneventful for the first 75 minutes has burst into life with late goals, one apiece. Harvey Barnes for Newcastle, Elliot Anderson against his old team for Nottingham Forest, and now a throw into Forest on the left-hand side. Nico Williams is level with the edge of the penalty area, his team attack. He throws it back to Morato, who's got a lot of teammates ahead of him here, tries to drill it into the penalty area. It's worked its way through to Amari Hutchinson on the far side. Hutchinson in the penalty area, twisting, turning, giving it back to Ryan Yates. He prods it in. McAtee helps it on. Is Hutchinson onside? He is for now. Ball goes back in. Jump by Luca. Headed down, and Tonali on the goal line is able to clear away. It wasn't going in anyway, but Tonali had to be sure. And suddenly it's all Forest. And how Vitor Pereira must wish that they had this ambition earlier in the game, Clinton.
Yeah, this game's turned on his head, to be fair. Newcastle were dominating in cruise control. They concede a goal and they just fall into pieces, and that's been the story of their season.
Hutchinson, after a good turn, he delivers a disappointing low cross. Tonali clears it away. It comes off Wissa, and it's a Nottingham Forest throw-in on the far side. We've played 2.5 minutes of the 7 that have been added on for stoppages, and we've spoken about him a bit today. Kieran Trippier is going to get the late cameo here. Eddie Howe giving final instructions to his number 2. Very late in the day for Trippier to coming on.
Strange, very strange.
This is Nico Williams on the left wing for Nottingham Forest up against Lewis Hall. And Hall, who's naturally left-sided, trying to keep tabs on things here. Ball is played in. Luca controls it with his back to goal. Tries to set up Ryan Yates for a shot. Bruno Guimaraes bravely stretches out his leg to make the block. Newcastle are hanging on at the moment. Anderson for Forest launches one into the penalty area, too close to Nick Pope, and the Newcastle goalkeeper comes and makes the save. Almost midway through the 7 minutes of stoppages now. West Ham against Arsenal to come. Huge game at both ends of the table. John Murray ready to go with Rob Green. That's a great ball into the penalty area. Botman has to react ahead of Chris Wood. And anywhere will do for Newcastle now as they put it out for a Forest throw on the far side. And still, Kieran Trippier turns to Eddie Howe and says, any chance you let me on here?
Exactly. What are you waiting for?
Wait, says Eddie Howe. This is Elliot Anderson, number 8 on his back. Plays it crisply along the turf to Nico Williams on the left-hand side. Back to Anderson, who's made an overlapping run. 5 yards to the byline left-hand side. Low into the feet of the tricky McAtee. McAtee tries to return it to Elliot Anderson. Urged to shoot him, Morato. He doesn't fancy the shot. He tries to pick out a teammate. Newcastle get it back. Could Bruno Guimaraes get it down the other end? No, Morato with a professional foul here to ensure there would be no counter-attack. That's a free kick to Newcastle. And Morato jogs back into position. Half-time at Wembley in the National League playoff final. Boreham Wood against Rochdale. Here's Aaron Paul.
Boreham Wood 1, Rochdale 0. The Hertfordshire side deserving their lead. The goal landed midway through the half. Matt Rush chesting home, and Abdul Malik cross. It looped over the keeper and nestled in. Abdul Malik then went close to the dipping shot. Rochdale second best throughout there behind at the break. Boreham Wood 1, Rochdale 0.
Thank you, Aaron. So Kieran Trippier will get his chance to come on now. He will take the place of Bruno Guimaraes as we're about to move into the 96th minute. Bruno Guimaraes, who always puts heart and soul into every Newcastle performance. He's hooked here late on by Eddie Howe, and Kieran Trippier comes on as Newcastle are worried that they could see this slip away from them. A game in which they took the lead through substitute Harvey Barnes, only for Elliot Anderson to get the late equaliser. Forest 1, Newcastle 1 on 5 Live and BBC South. Chris Wood jumps and wins a header in the air. Nico Williams on the left-hand side. Into Elliot Anderson. Huge roar of man on with Wissa bearing down on him. So Anderson clears it long into Newcastle territory, straight to Chow. So Newcastle regain possession. Tonali will lump it forward. Morato backpedaling wins the header comfortably ahead of Wissa. Anderson along the deck to Chris Wood, who miscues. But Nico Williams is in to get control to nutmeg Trippier. And then Anderson comes in against his old teammate and wins the ball. And Luca wants a free kick, and the referee blows the whistle not to give Forest a free kick. They wouldn't have wanted that. They would have wanted advantage. The reason he's blown the whistle is because they're offside.
Yeah, everyone didn't realise that. He was offside, to be fair. It wasn't a foul. I think they were both going at it, so yeah, it was never a foul, but he was in an offside position.
He said he's going to have to settle for a draw here. He's had a very good record against Forest in his managerial career. 7 Premier League games against them in the past. He's won 6 of those matches. But Newcastle's troubles on the road continuing here, unless they can come up with a late winning moment at the City Ground. We're into the 97th minute now. They were due to be 7 minutes added on. Trippier is going to take the free kick from well inside his own half. And it's touched to him by Nick Pope, and now Trippier launches it forward. Lots of backspin on that, into the penalty area. Ryan Yates with a solid forehead, heads it out of the box. No one's reacted for Forest. Barnes is able to play it back in again, and there's a jump by Malik Chow, and Morato hesitated, but the reason he hesitated was he was blocking Wissa, and that allowed Matt Schultz to come out and to fall dramatically onto the ground. It's a sort of visible sigh of relief from the Belgian goalkeeper. And this game looks set to finish 1-1 as Morato launches it long. Is there one last chance here for Nottingham Forest? Botman wins a header on the edge of his own penalty area. Malik Chow only half clears. There's the full-time whistle, and there's applause around the City Ground. And Forest are much happier with this than the Newcastle fans, because they've come from behind to get the draw. Elliot Anderson confirming football's immutable law of the X, that former players always come back to haunt their own team. Great touch from McAtee to set it up 1-1, Clinton.
Yeah, good game of football, in particular in that second half. But Newcastle will be disappointed, and that's kind of summed up their season, like dominating and just can't finish it off. And as you're saying, conceding too many goals at the moment, and they can't wait to the end of the season to rebuild and go again next season. Brilliant point for Forest. I think that point there makes Forest safe, in my opinion, Connor. But yeah, fair play to Forest. With the injuries they've got, they battled right to the end.
Yeah, for West Ham to overtake Forest now, they would have to win every single one of their remaining games, including
At 2 apiece, though, Crystal Palace had 3 glorious chances to steal the 3 points. And with that point, though, today, Crystal Palace, they should be good for another season of Premier League football. Everton, without a win in 5, still very much in the hunt for European football for next season. Full time here, Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2.
Yeah, Everton, because of that draw, are 4 points behind 7th placed Brighton, and 7th is where you're going to need to finish to get in Europe next season. Of course, that's not true for Palace, who'll be in the Europa League if they win the Conference League. It's that stage of the season where it's all a bit complicated. Full time at Turf Moor, Julia Bald.
It's finished Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2. It has been end to end for the full 90 minutes. Jadon Anthony put Burnley in front early on. Ollie Watkins thought he'd equalised before VAR ruled him offside. Ross Barkley did get the equaliser before the break. It was a header inside the box over the top of keeper Max Weiss. Villa then took the lead through Watkins after his keeper Martinez went long to feed him the ball. 2 minutes later, though, Burnley fought back again. Zian Fleming with his right foot inside the centre of the box. Burnley's winless run at home now stretches to 14. Villa's winless run on the road stands at 6, but they do have that Europa League final to focus on. It's been a real battle here today. Both had chances to win it, but it's finished Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2.
Sevilla are 4 points above Bournemouth. Villa currently in the 5th and final Champions League place, so either that or, as Julia says, by winning the Europa League, they look in a good position. Oh, for the simplicity of an FA Cup semi-final. Let's check in on Chelsea-Manchester City. Paul Gilmore.
It's still Chelsea 1, Manchester City 0. Aaron Cuthbert's goal on her 300th appearance. The difference, Manchester City have responded well since falling behind, but a big controversial moment. Chelsea had a goal disallowed, the ball deemed to be out of play before Sam Kerr scored. I don't think it was out. Chelsea 1, Manchester City 0.
Winners will face Brighton in the final. Brighton into their first ever Women's FA Cup final after a dramatic and late 3-2 victory at Liverpool. Let's check back in on England, New Zealand in that Women's ODI. Henry Moran.
Where England are chasing 211 but find themselves 3 wickets down after a period of bowling from New Zealand that was really tight, put real pressure on England. 1 run scored in 21 balls, 2 wickets fell in that period of time as well, with England unable to break free, and so they find themselves with Freya Kemp and Maya Bouchier having to do a little bit of a rebuilding job. They still require 153 runs to win this opening game of a busy summer. They're 58 for 3, chasing 211.
And there's commentary on Sports Extra 3, which just leaves us with 2 football half-times to bring you. Grimsby 1, Salford 2, half-time in the League 2 playoff semi-final first leg, and in the National League playoff final at Wembley, Boreham Wood lead Rochdale 1-0 at half-time. All eyes on the London Stadium. Full commentary in less than half an hour's time of West Ham versus Arsenal in the Premier League. After the news with Joe Critcher.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The British military has parachuted medical staff and supplies onto a remote island in the South Atlantic to help a man with suspected hantavirus. He lives on the British territory of Tristan da Cunha and had been on the cruise ship at the centre of the outbreak. Meanwhile, the first Spanish passengers evacuated from the ship that's docked near Tenerife have arrived in Madrid. 22 British passengers are expected to arrive back in the UK later, while they'll be placed into quarantine. There have been fresh calls for the Prime Minister to stand down following Labour's losses in Thursday's elections. The former Minister, Josh Simon, says Keir Starmer has lost the country. So Keir will give a speech aimed at resetting the government's direction tomorrow. And the Netflix show Adolescence is leading the way with 6 nominations for the TV BAFTAs tonight, including Best Limited Drama. It's also competing against The Celebrity Traitors for the Memorable Moment Award, which is voted for by the public.
Welcome to the Wayne Rooney Show.
Wayne went along to Carrington to meet Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes.
Before I saw you guys playing so many times and I was following the club for so long, just coming to the club was already a dream come true, a privilege. Never thought or dreamed about being the captain of the club. I just wanted to play for it.
Portugal have given me 2 worst nights of football.
I was in my grandma's house. I run with my cousins, we run outside in the streets.
The Wayne Rooney Show. Watch an iPlayer, listen on Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
OK, so full times in the Premier League. Forest 1, Newcastle 1, Palace 2, Everton 2 and Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2. Our final commentary of the day comes from the London Stadium. So West Ham will move out of the bottom 3 with a win. Arsenal, 2 points clear of Manchester City, can take a massive step toward a First League title since 2004. Correspondent John Murray has the teams.
Yes, Arsenal looking to take a step closer to winning the Premier League. And absolutely right, Steve, for West Ham, were they able to win this, that would be a massive step towards potential survival. And West Ham make a couple of changes. Nuno Espirito Santo going with 3 central defenders today. So Todibo is back into the starting lineup. And also Wan-Bissaka will play as the right wing back. So Pablo and Walker-Peters on the bench. The West Ham team, Hermansen in goal. And those 3 centre-backs, Disasi, Todibo and Mavropanos. Then Wan-Bissaka on the right, Diouf on the left, Souček and Fernandes in the middle, and then the front 3 of Bowen on the right, Somerville on the left and Castellanos in the middle. And Arsenal, lot to talk about this, whether Mikel Arteta would make changes after the tumultuous events of the last couple of matches, particularly the win in the second leg of the semi-final against Atletico Madrid. No, he's gone with the same team again. So Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. The back 4, Rice and Lewis Skelly again in midfield. Then Saka, Eza, Trossard and Gyökeres with Odegaard and Havertz among the substitutes again.
Former England and West Ham goalkeeper Rob Green is alongside John for commentary. Afternoon, Rob.
Hi, Steve. How are we doing?
Very good, thank you. We're going to bring Shea Given in at some point as well, who's doing Match of the Day later, so we'll have a good chat about David Raya, who's just won another Premier League Golden Glove. Let's just start with Arsenal in the round. I know nerves can do funny things to you, but the 2 league wins they've had to nil and that Champions League semi-final, do you get a sense of gathering momentum now just when they need it?
I think they're flying in terms of results, aren't they? They really are on top of their game, and they had a wonderful win, an absolute cruise that set them up against Fulham last weekend. I don't think it'll be the same today, but you're looking at the confidence that brought, the way that the team gelled, the way that it clicked together for what was a bit of a scrap in the week. They can come into this game going, we can play the football, we can scrap it out like we knew. So realistically, looking, saying, how can we not win this game, Arsenal? That's the belief that they must have now.
So West Ham after today have got Newcastle away and Leeds at home. Tottenham are 1 point above them. They've got Leeds at home tomorrow night. Then they've got Chelsea away and Everton at home. And look, I know, John, there's a point between them, but things change so quickly. You know, by Tuesday morning, if they lose today, they could suddenly need snookers.
Yeah, I think it's really asking a great deal for West Ham if they lose this match. That's how important I think it is. But what I would say is, as we were discussing at half-time, the form that they've been in, you know, it has been quite an upturn for West Ham. And to see where they are now, to think, you know, that they're really struggling third bottom of the Premier League, their form since January has been much better than that. Since mid-January, they've taken 12 more points than Tottenham, and they've been very strong here. They've not lost at home outright for 4 months. They did lose on penalties in the FA Cup, but in terms of losing over 90 minutes, that's not happened here for 4 months. And yes, I know that to lose in the way that they did last weekend at Brentford was quite dispiriting, but I think that I'm a big believer in when it comes down to last chances. And this might even feel like West Ham to be a last chance.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Steve? You look at it and you look at the back-to-back wins. I've been down the bottom too many times, and that is what you're crying out for. Back-to-back wins are priceless, and that's what Spurs got. And they've shifted the whole momentum, the whole narrative from absolute despair to something where they're saying, wow, we're in the box seat, we're in the driving seat here. Now, West Ham needs those back-to-back wins.
I'll tell you, Steve, just a few minutes ago, I was thinking to myself, there was something I wanted to check from the last time that West Ham were relegated from the Premier League. So I got it up on my iPad in front of me, and Rob says, if you want to know anything about that season, just ask me.
Thanks, John. I said that in confidence.
It's all right, it's just between the three of us and, the nation. Look, you've been a home goalkeeper at Upton Park and an away goalkeeper at the London Stadium. I'm really just interested to talk about the whole atmosphere thing. I always think it's unfair when the burden seems to be on the fans to create something rather than the players creating something that the fans can respond to. But for whatever reason, over many years, it just hasn't quite worked there.
It has in some games. In the European nights, when they had the successes. In recent weeks, they've had real atmosphere here. I think the problem is it's such a difficult place to create atmosphere, to actually physically do it when you are so far away from the fans on the other side of the stadium. I'm looking across now at the stadium and you can't make out the other fans as individuals. They are little blobs in the distance. So to actually resonate with those fans, and then you think about the length of time it takes to create an area where they sing, an area where they sit there and watch the game, they naturally find themselves in old stadiums because it's been how it's been for eternity. Now you've got to find something artificial within a matter of seasons. They've been here quite a long time, but it's taken such a long time on the games when realistically it's been a little bit flat, it's a little bit subdued. They just cannot do it because of the logistics, because of the physicality nature of the stadium.
And the other difficulty, Rob, is that if you're a West Ham fan in that stadium today, it is the biggest, for a long time, the biggest game in